Oh, yeah. Good morning, everybody. Let's get our heads right on a Tuesday. It's May 9th, 2023.
There you go.
Yeah, we got it. Now we got it.
Firing on all cylinders.
Just crushing it so far this morning, Paulie. Good morning, everyone. We are going to get our heads right today. It is Tuesday, May 9th, 2023. Had a lovely, lovely off day yesterday. Very, very nice day indeed. Beautiful day outside. It was a great day to lay my ass in bed and just relax. And I got some work done at the computer in the home office. Watched other baseball. It was very nice to watch baseball without having to watch, the Padres and just getting to actually enjoy the game for a while. So I did that. And then me and Paulie, and I will introduce Paulie here. Paulie is our executive producer, the vice president of the show, I guess it's safe to say. Paulie, how are you, bud?
I'm here and reporting for duty.
Thriving.
Just killing it.
Yeah. Well, listen. So last night, right around before we were all, Paulie and I were going to hit the sack, we got a text from the big guy. The Secretary of Homeland Exploration, Benjamin R. Higgins. And he said, I don't feel good. I'm going home. He went home already from Channel 10. And I said, what was that? And I said, what do you have? You like doo-doo? You vomiting? The flu? And he said, no, I've been sneezing a lot. And I said, oh. I said, okay. Are you, is that sick, or do you have allergies maybe? He said, I feel miserable. I've been sneezing nonstop. I just sneezed 8 times in a row.
Oh my God.
And I said, okay. He said, if I just could stop sneezing, I think I'll be okay, but I can't be all snotty on the YouTube stream. Different than just radio, off-putting. I sneezed 8 times in the past 2 minutes. Exhausting. I said, can you take a Claritin? And he said, I've already taken one, not making a bit of difference. He was getting a little bit pissy with me. And I said, okay, well, feel better. And we didn't hear from him. And then this morning, as I was making my coffee, my phone, ding. And I looked down, he said, have a good show. I'm miserable. And I said, oh, cool. It's 4:40 in the morning. Paulie and I weren't really sure if he was coming in or not. Now we know at 4:40 that, in fact, he's not.
I was like just finishing getting dressed.
Yeah.
I looked over at my phone, lit up, and I go, have a nice show. I'm like,
I gave it.
Okay.
If I'm being 100% honest with all of you guys, I legitimately, my first word was mother.
I think I said, son of a.
Yeah. I gave it the mother. And Hannah goes, what? And I go, Ben, he's out. She said, why? I said, he's sneezing a lot. And she, honest to God, went and got Flonase and said, well, bring him this. And I forgot to bring it to him, but he's not here. So I hope he feels better. We are, Cameron, we are a man down. We've had a programming change as well today. I'm going to scratch through this, Paulie. Jesse Agler also is unable to join us, had a family thing come up, so he's not going to be able to join us today. So we're up against it just a little bit here on Ben and Woods this morning.
Go.
So we're going to need you guys to help pull us through.
We got this.
Yeah, I was in that weird limbo of like, well, Ben's pretty reliable, to be honest with you. He's a really good partner, and I would never want to work with anyone else. I didn't know. All right, well, so at 9 o'clock at night, what is usually like I'm drifting off to sleep and pretty wiped out and need to be rested to do the show. I wondered to myself, do I need to drag my ass out of bed and go get a little extra done before, just in case? And guess what I decided? I decided not to.
I was in the same boat. I think
We were
I
both
texted you. I was
texting,
like,
I'm falling
it was
asleep.
like 9:05.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, I'm about to fall asleep. So I guess we'll wake up in the morning and find out.
Figure it out.
Sure enough.
That's what we're going to do today. But Benjamin is not here. He's got the sneezes. So he's not going to be in this morning. I hope that Shelly has made him a nice big pot of chicken soup for his soul, and he can sit and suck on it for the rest of the day, just slurping a big pot of chicken soup right in his chair, watching TV, sports documentaries or whatever.
Oh, he's got the Golf Channel on.
Oh yeah, just working on his putting stroke. Rafa just put in the chat, guys, WTF, I just sneezed 5 times. What's going around? It's weird, Rafa. I've got my ear is clogged. And so I don't know what the hell's going on. But listen, we're going to be here. We're going to have a good time today. We have a really, really cool show. I'm actually very excited to talk to our girl, Katie Woo, at 7:35. All right. The St. Louis Cardinals have been in the S all season long. They have been in pure hell. Now, they did one last night. That was one of the games I watched. And they've done some weird things with Wilson Contreras. It's a fascinating story. Anytime we get a chance to have Katie Woo on, we are going to do that. Then at 9 a.m., very excited about this. Paulie's been working really hard on this behind the scenes. Cristo Fernandez, you know him as Denny Rojas from Ted Lasso, is going to join us at 9 a.m. And Ted Lasso, one of my favorite shows. We'll talk all about it. Life. Yeah, football is life. You guys know it, man. You guys know exactly what it is. Yesterday, when we left, I didn't even tell you this, Paulie. So we talked about the quote unquote rumor of the San Diego Padres opening the 2024 season against the Dodgers in Korea, South Korea. And Ben said, oh, he got all excited. Now, listen, if anybody likes to pack a bag and go somewhere, it's Ben Higgins. The guy loves to travel, loves to take days off for vacations. He said, no, I want to go as a show. And I go, all right. I needed a little bit of convincing. I'm more of a homebody. Paulie, you know how he gets when he gets something in his head.
Oh,
I
don't even know that he's sick. He might be packing for Korea right now.
He could be getting documentation together
10 months out,
passport and things like that. He could be getting immunizations if he needs them, like learning Korean maybe as well.
He left Channel 10 to go get Rosetta Stone.
Yes,
and he stayed up all night.
Korea.
Like, oh crap, I have a show, guys. I'm sick.
He's on the Eat Her app, looking for the best restaurants to eat in Korea. I'm telling you, we walked out of the building together. He goes,
that's all he talked about.
It's all he would not stop. He wouldn't stop. So I talked to Adam yesterday too, and Adam goes, well, Ben just called me, and I go, what?
Oh my God.
And he goes, yeah, he was asking me about that South Korea trip. I go, he did? I go, it's 10.
I was with him 30 seconds ago.
I go, it's 10 months away. And he goes, yeah, I mean, I guess I can go ask. And I just said, oh, I mean, all right. Like, if he's dedicated and wants to do it, I mean, we were in the production studio, and he was like, we'll get a sponsor. And I'm like, will you, dude? Like, I'm like, come on. And he goes, well, we do have a contract that's expiring at the end of the year. That's a pretty good thing to ask for. I'm like, okay, if you want to, in the contract negotiations, weasel yourself a free trip to Korea, then I mean, I guess I got to go along with you, right? Like, because there are, the negotiations for the Ben and Wood show to stay here at Odyssey and be a part of the Padres flagship and be right here. They're underway. There's been some communication.
Any updates? Like, how's that all going?
It's
should I not have asked?
No, it's fine. I'm me, I'm pretty open. It's slow right now. Some volleys are being hit back and forth, I think is a safe way to put it. Now, it's
still early, right?
It is, and the people need to understand too, what we don't want to happen and what Odyssey doesn't want to happen is they don't want to get to the point where we are officially free agents, to where we can say, all right, who would like to have a morning show that's doing really well? Who would like that? And
really well.
There would really well. And there'd be some hands across town that shot up and said, well, let's do a lunch. Let's do a dinner. Let's grab a coffee.
Let's go to Korea.
Let's go to Korea. We can offer you a trip to Korea. That would sell him. Ben, we're taking an 85% pay cut. We're going to Korea.
Yes.
So I go, so I said, sure. I mean, you can ask for the moon, when you're negotiating. Doesn't mean they're going to give it to you. So it's interesting. I hate contract time. I hate it. But also for the first time, well, maybe the second or third time in my career, I have finally. It's not leverage. It's just, hey, man, like
Things are going
things
really
are going
good.
really well, and we want to keep them going that way. I know you guys want to keep them going that way too. You know, I've worked at way more stations than I ever wanted to. Doesn't mean I won't do it again if I had to, but I don't want it to get to that. You know, I don't want to get to the point where it's like, oh yeah, we'll be happy to meet you for dinner tonight. Let's hear what you have to offer. I don't necessarily want to get to that point. I will if I have to. So that's kind of how it's going. If I'm being 100% honest, it's not going great so far. It's not going great at all. But you know, there's still a lot of time left. It will be here before you know it. Now, yours is a little different. People need to understand too. You're right. I changed my mind. I had said to Paulie, man, I think it would have been funny if he came in here and sneezed all day. I think I would have murdered him and sent him home. I think that would drive me crazy.
Like,
because that's driving me crazy.
What was the frequency? He said it was like every.
He said it was every 15 seconds. That would have driven me crazy. I would have strangled him. I would have strangled him on live YouTube.
The Lakers.
Get out of here! Get your ass out of here!
But did you guys see what LeBron?
It would kill me. I couldn't do it because I'm about to go ham right now. In what people need to understand too is about the contract thing. We're in the weirdest position of all time on this program because our producer, our beloved executive producer, well, his contract ends 5 months before ours does for some stupid reason. The dates don't match up. So Paulie really has the most leverage of all of like, you guys better take care of me. You know, seriously, like we're in a weird spot.
Timing is very odd.
If we're stressed, if I'm a little bit more snippy and bitchy than usual, you know why.
It's going to be a fun summer.
I apologize in advance. Doesn't have to be contentious. I don't want it to be contentious. I don't like contentious, don't I? But, you know, Paulie's in a weird position. So if Paulie's all good, chances are Ben and Woods are going to be all good, right? That's kind of how it works. So it's not the most fun thing to be a part of. I'm not enjoying it very much. It's why I hired an agent so that I don't have to do this crap. But I get the call from the agent when I'm at Disneyland the other day, and he's like, all right, strap in. You know, I'm like, whoo, boy, here we go. It's like riding a bull, Paulie. And I'm not to the point where they've opened the gate of the bull yet. I'm at the point where I'm settling into the saddle on the bull, and I'm getting my hand in the thing, and I'm looking at everyone going, okay, here we go. Here we go. I haven't quite nodded yet, and the gate has not flown open. But I'm on the MF and bull right now. Believe you me, we are on the bull, and it could get really, really nuts here for the next few months. I hope you guys like the inside radio peak there, but that's just kind of what we're going through. Like I said, Benny is a man down. We are a man down today. Benny is going to be out. I do hope he feels better. I do because I love him and want to work with him for at least the next, I don't know, 3 to 6 to 9 years. And then I think we'll call it a day after that. That being said, Paulie's got the Daily Ditty coming up next. Interested to hear what his theme is going to be. Want to talk a little bit about a topic we broached yesterday. I've been reading a lot about it. I have a lot of tier ones reach out. Have tier ones that want to call in at 6:30. We're going to be talking about the MLS to San Diego. It's a huge, huge thing. I mean, I think there's people out there that go, the MLS, I mean, who cares? Bro, you're talking about a $500 million fee for a franchise. That's not small potatoes at all. That's a huge, huge deal for our city. So I want to talk about it. I want to talk about how it's going to affect our friends at the Loyal as well. So I want to hear from both sides. That's at 6:35.
Are you for MLS?
Yeah.
Are you
or
against MLS?
Are you right in the middle?
Like, look, we're not lying to you. We're not the biggest soccer aficionados. Explain to us how you're feeling.
Correct.
And like you just said, there's a lot of different emotions all across, the
whole gamut. Well, and how fitting that we're going to have Danny Rojas on the show. And it's hard for me. His name is Cristo Fernandez. He's Danny Rojas to me. Right. And I think he's Danny Rojas to everyone.
It's Jason Sudeikis, not Ted Lasso.
It's exactly right.
But if I ran into him on the street, I'd be like, oh my God,
it's Ted Lasso. I know. I feel the exact same way. So he's coming up at 9 a.m. Football is life. We'll hear from the football lifers today. We'll be right back. It's Ben and Woods on 97.3. The Fan. Thanks for being here. Ooh, what a banger, Paulie. Lenny Kravitz, Fly Away, from a really interesting album he put out many years ago. I was in college. It was called Five.
Yeah.
It's really good.
1998.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
I was
1998.
8 years old.
8 years old. I was in college. I saw him perform this song on Letterman, I think, and was just transfixed. I am a big Lenny Kravitz fan.
I am too.
And he has not written, in my opinion, a good song in many years. But his older catalog is really good. And he
very diverse.
Yeah, does a lot of. I love when he plays acoustic. I met him one time. He came through the radio station I worked at when I was back in Dallas, here in Dallas, as Ben would say. You would be blown away at how diminutive Leonard Kravitz is. He would come up to your belt and Ben's belt. Like, hey, man, I'm Lenny Kravitz. You're like, oh, my God, you're the size of Woods' 5-year-old. He's so short, it like was stunning.
Now, he's listed on the Google at 5'9".
Come on, bro. That's like the offensive linemen that are like the wide receivers that are really short. They're like, he's 6'1". I'm like, bro, he's not 6'1" with platforms on. Lenny,
high school basketball, we would play tournaments where you had to submit all your roster information for the pamphlet, right? And I was like 6 foot, maybe 6'1" in high school. I grew after. They said I was like 6'4", sometimes even 6'5", because these guys got a bunch of 6'5" guys on their team. Then you get
all panicked.
Yeah, but then you get on court and you're like, that guy's barely 6 foot.
Well, he was so kind, so nice, and I always he'll put out. When he puts out new music, I go and listen. I go, I want it for him. I want it for him so bad, because he's such a really good dude. And he is potentially one of the top 5 most handsome human beings I have ever met in person. Like, strikingly handsome. And still, at however old he is, looks phenomenal for his age. Great pick. So what's the theme?
So the theme is, like I said, I was 8 years old when that album came out, and my mom loves her some Lenny Kravitz.
Mine too.
I used to hear that song every freaking day, among with others. There, she's a big Sheryl Crow girl. Anything from the 90s, it was playing on the weekends while my mom was cleaning up the house. It's Mother's Day, so that's a song that, not really a dedication to your mom, but it makes me think. I hear that song and I am brought back to Saturdays around the house.
How about songs your mom loves?
Yeah,
done.
Yeah,
done. Dude, I got a Lenny Kravitz one too. Maybe I'll do it on. Well, I think Sneezy will be in tomorrow. Dopey and Sleepy are here today.
We're here.
Sneezy will be back in tomorrow. I hope he will be. But yeah, that's good. Songs that our mamas like. Yeah, Mother's Day, just warning you guys now. We're going to be warning you all week. And the reason I say warning is you better not forget. That's not a day that you can forget. If you've got a mom, if you've got a wife and you have kids, you just can't forget it. I've got a whole weekend. Hannah gets the Friday, the Saturday, the Sunday. We do it for 72 hours straight. In my home, we celebrate. And in my opinion, I think that's the way it should be. And so that's what we're doing. So I've got a lot of things to a lot of moving pieces and moving parts to get going. I was very, very touched by a couple of messages I got yesterday from some folks in town. We talked briefly about the MLS, Major League Soccer, coming to San Diego. We'll get into Padres talk today, too. Off game last night, off day yesterday. We will talk about the matchups with the Twins and all that. But I think this is a bigger issue right now. And I think we come at it as with a little bit different perspective. Now, right when we started the show, Ben and Woods program 5 years ago, there was the whole debate that was raging between Soccer City and SDSU. Oh. The thought of it gives me like hives.
You came into sports radio, right? Like at the end, like the very end.
Like maybe 3 weeks left to go of that whole scene. So when we worked at the other radio station, it was a big topic. There were some
years of city council members and fan support groups
coming on the air, just pitching, pleading their case. We got
city development debates.
We got accused. Now, Ben, you're an SDSU alum. Mm-hmm. Ben is a huge SDSU fan. I'm very much in the middle. Like I watched more basketball games last year. Shocker. They went to the championship game. Like, I watch more SDSU basketball. I really don't watch the Aztecs play football much. It's not a product I really enjoy watching. Just if I'm being honest with you guys.
Neither do I.
Right. And you're an alum. But the
Been to
soccer,
like 2 games.
the Soccer City scene was gnarly. I just walked into it and it was, oh, look at you, corporate shill. How's all you? I'm like, dude, do you think they're leaving us bags of money? Like, I didn't make a nickel off of anything happening. So
Yeah.
I wasn't involved. I'm not involved in this. But as a San
And
Diegan, I'm
look,
curious.
I couldn't be happier that we got a stadium built.
100%.
That's all
Looks
that I
awesome.
wanted, and it looks fantastic.
Yep.
I'm glad it is there. All I can say is that when all this was going on, 6-7 years ago, look, if you ask the Aztecs any questions, they wouldn't give you answers. That's why people got so upset that a lot of us were like, well, I mean, these guys from Soccer City, like, they're here, they're going to answer all our questions.
Yeah, that's true. I do remember that. So it was a weird
It
time.
was very,
And we're
I'm
getting
PTSD.
We're getting to the tip of that again. We're getting to the forefront now. We need to talk about it, and that's what this show is for. So I want to hear from both sides. I made my point yesterday. At this point today, I really love my friends that are loyal supporters. I've only been to one loyal game, so I'm not going to get on here and be like, here's my scarf, I'm loyal till I die. That's not who I am. I'm loyal to my friends, though. That's who I'm loyal to. And if you're into it, if that's your scene, I got your back. Period. That's just how I roll.
And look, you and I are both open and honest, and we're gonna know what we don't know.
100%.
And a lot about soccer, we don't know. I mean, there are so many layers.
Yes.
Like, oh, the loyal could join one of 8 different leagues.
Correct.
Oh, the loyal could be a feeder team. Oh, the loyal could do that. There's so many options for how this could play out, and we don't know how it should play out. So we're leaning on you guys.
But
right now.
yeah, and I had some amazing messages yesterday because my stance is, as of today, I roll with my friends from the loyal, who none of them seem very happy about the MLS coming to town. That's just kind of how I feel, because those are my guys and girls. And that's how I feel right now. It's going to be a weird one, man. It's going to be a weird conversation. It's going to be a weird thing to unpack. Let's try to keep it classy, San Diego, as they like to say on the ESPN broadcast. Stay classy, San Diego. When you call, we will take your calls next, 833-288-0973. Either side, man. Absolute either side. Want to hear from you and your reasons why, and why it's so difficult, and why it would be hard to make a change if that's in fact what's going to happen. MLS to San Diego looks like it's going to happen. I mean, by all accounts,
in a matter of
weeks. It could be, from the date I saw, it could be 17, 16 days from now. So we'll know soon. Want to hear from you guys next, the tier ones and otherwise. 833-288-0973. It's Ben and Woods. Join 97.3 The Fan as we broadcast live at AleSmith Brewing Company this Friday beginning at 6 a.m. with us, Ben and Woods, followed by Braden, and then Gwen and Chris. There's going to be coffee, food, $5, $3.94 pale ales all day long. People of all ages are welcome to join. Don't forget to stick around afterwards to watch the Padres play the Dodgers with the sound on throughout the entire tasting room. Nothing worse than being at a bar and there's your game that you wanted to watch, but everyone's talking and there's no sound. I like that the sound's on. They crank it up. You're there to watch a game. That's how they do it. That's how you're supposed to do it. Do we have traffic or anything here, Paulie?
Yes.
All right, let's check traffic real quick. Call us 833-288-0973. We had a couple of calls, and then they dropped off. So I don't know if it's our phone lines. I don't know if it's you guys. Don't be scared. We're going to talk this thing through. And again, let's keep it classy.
This is probably the safest place you could air your soccer
1,000%.
We don't know if you're wrong or not.
That's such a good point, Paulie. We really have no idea what we're talking about. We're going to
be like, yeah, sounds good to me.
Sounds great. We're going to spitball this thing together.
From the Premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your 15-minute instant drive-thru oil change. Looking pretty good on our roads at this time. No trouble spots to contend with. Seeing a little slow traffic out of Santee on westbound side of the 52. The To-Go Tires clear ride is at South 5 Coastline. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change centers. You don't have to get out of your car. It usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for discounts and locations nearest you. Valvoline Oil Change centers are open 7 days a week. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Now, Woodsy, Padre Bod says in the YouTube chat, somebody recap what I need to be mad at. So what, which I love.
I do too. Hey, just tell me who I need to be mad at.
Who's mad? Okay,
Right.
got it.
I do that to my wife a lot. Like, all right, so this is an issue. Who do you want me to be upset at? Because I'm in, because I got your back. That's how I roll, right? Okay, you don't really have to be mad at anybody. It's just one of those interesting things.
Set the table.
Set the table. So there's USL, which is what the Loyal are in, and the Loyal have been here, I believe, 4 years, and they've done a really, really good job at making a foothold in the San Diego community. And to be honest, I'll even say this, much to my surprise, honestly, much to my surprise, what they have done is truly staggering. We went out to a game this year. It was our first game, embarrassingly enough. We had a great, great time. They do things the right way. Their fan group is rabid, like they're nuts. I love it. Our pal Craig Elston, my pal Stevie B, all of these guys. Eileen, who's one of our tier ones as well. We have a lot of tier one listeners. There's a lot of crossover. And those are my people, man. Those are the people I love.
Oh, the head coach is a tier 1.
I saw Landon Donovan the other night. And obviously, one of the biggest names in men's soccer of all time. So, yeah, dude, they've done a really, really good job. They do a ton for the community. They do, and they win. They win games. They're a good franchise, and they're doing things the right way. So then, and I don't want to portray the MLS as some giant conglomerate dragon swooping in to, breathe fire all over the Loyal, even though that's kind of what it is. It's Major League Soccer. And I know that there are people in this town that were like, I'm not going to support the Loyal because it's not Major League. And that's okay. That's your prerogative as a fan. You get to decide where your dollar goes, right?
I asked the question yesterday as an ignorant, very casual soccer fan. If you're upset, are you a Loyal fan or are you a fan of soccer? Are there both?
I think there's both. I really think there's both. I think
because one argument would say, well, you're getting the best this country has to offer.
Correct.
But I totally understand people that have devoted so much of their fandom over the last 4 years to the Loyal, and then for it to just go away, that sucks.
The one thing I can say with absolute certainty over that I've learned by being friends with a lot of football people.
Football is life.
They're pretty convicted. Not pretty convicted. They're convicted. They stand by their convictions. They believe in their convictions, and that's why they're convictions. They don't really waffle. Waffling is for guys like me. Waffling is for guys like you, guys that really, you're not going to go to a ton of Loyal games, but you're probably not going to go to a ton of MLS games either. I do get that sense, though, that with what we do for a living here, oh, it's Major League Soccer. Okay, well, we should probably pay attention. And I don't think that's necessarily fair either. But that's unfortunately the way that it is. Now, if they do come in, and then again, it looks like a done deal. They'll play at Snapdragon. They'll make an investment in Snapdragon to put canopies up and really make it a football-friendly place. It should look awesome. It should be what people wanted, right? Like,
I don't know how Snapdragon ranks with other MLS stadiums as far as capacity and everything that it features, but I think I can picture it now, and it looks amazing.
Yeah.
I've seen what the Wave have done there, and it looks great.
So I think that you're going to have people on all sides. You're going to have people that will never support Major League Soccer, and it's because they love the loyal. You're going to have people, Paulie, that don't like the loyal, but still won't support Major League Soccer because they don't like the way that they run the entire organization. And that's okay too. There are people that feel that way about the NFL now. There are people that are like, bro, I don't watch that product anymore. After DeMar Hamlin and after Junior Seau and after everything that's happened, and you watch how the NFL's run and you're like, no, I'm not supporting that product. Again, that is okay as well. I have so many friends now, guys I grew up with. They're like, I don't watch the NFL anymore. I have my Sundays to myself, spend them with my family. I'm not that guy, but there are people that are never going to like it. So you're never going to make everybody in San Diego happy. That's one thing I've learned about living here. No one's ever going to be completely happy with what they have, unless the Padres win a World Series. But then there'll be people that are mad they didn't win it in 5 games and it took them 7 games to win it. You're never going to make everybody happy. Is there a happy medium? That's what this conversation is about. Can the loyal and the new MLS team coexist? Can it happen? And I think maybe that's the solution of trying to find out how that happens. Are they going to be able to, are they going to pull from each other? Are they going to help each other? You just never know.
The only real experience that I have with any of this, I grew up in Seattle.
Yep.
And the Sounders, the MLS team, the Seattle Sounders, became a thing like the year I graduated high school and moved down here. So I really didn't get to experience them. But I have a ton of friends who didn't know a penalty kick from a throw-in, and they are season ticket holders. Like, they sell out every game up there. They love it. There was a Sounders soccer team in Seattle my entire life.
Right.
They were in a lower level than the Loyal are in now.
Right.
And when the expansion franchise was awarded to the city of Seattle, they named them the Sounders.
The Sounders.
And everyone was like, hell yeah,
brilliant idea.
Perfect. This is great.
And I just wonder if
can we do that again?
I wonder if the exact same thing happened, because again,
and I don't know anything about if the president of the lower level Sounders had anything to do with the MLS.
Well,
I don't know.
By all accounts, this is going to be run by Saquon and an Egyptian businessman, the MLS team. I don't know if there's a piece for Landon Donovan and his group. I don't know.
But okay, that's the money behind it.
That's the money behind it.
I'm pretty sure this Egyptian businessman's not going to be super involved. I think it's probably a money thing, right?
Could be.
So why wouldn't you bring in a Landon Donovan?
I have no idea.
These are the questions that we have that we don't know the answers to. We got callers on the line.
All right, let's go. Let's go to the phone.
Start at the top. Hector, you're on the line.
Hector, good morning, buddy.
In Woods.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, I totally concur with what you guys are saying. I think the big issue here is the grassroots that have already been built by San Diego Loyal.
Yeah.
When you look at the other cities that have MLS and ESO championship teams, they have some sort of connection there. The ownership do, but I think the whole thing that the way this started off, I think eventually people will come around, but it'll take some time. You know what I'm saying?
I do. And let me ask you this: out of the cities, so there are cities in America that have MLS and USL, and they coexist okay together.
Yeah, and there's actually, the Atlanta United they still have Atlanta United too, even though they're not in the USL Championship. And even if you see like NWSL with MLS teams, the Portland Thorns and the Portland Timbers, there's always that connection.
Okay.
Even in terms of ownership, but it's here because it started off in such a crappy way. I think it would take longer.
Yeah, with the politics that have gotten involved, from what I read, got an awesome Google Doc yesterday. My man Alan Underwood sent me this, like, basically the idiot's guide to the conversation you're about to have is basically what it was.
Explain to me like I'm a first grader.
Yes, because essentially when it comes to this stuff, we kind of are. But I want to learn. I am fascinated, and there's the other part of it that
It's a bit of a social experiment.
It's a social
and
experiment
that's
as
what
well.
fascinates me.
But the other thing is it good ultimately for our city? Is it good for San Diego? And will it make San Diegans happy? I think maybe. Yeah, I think maybe. Does it put you a little bit more on the map? Because I got to tell you, man, I worked for the Seals for 5 years. Was telling Hannah this last night. I texted their president yesterday after the dust settled. We lost in the first round of the playoffs with 2 seconds left. It was a total gut punch. Every player, every person in that organization gives their 100% for every game, myself included. I mean, I shred my throat to get people hyped up. I love it. I love it more than anything. I text him. I go, dude, now that the dust is settled, just thank you for letting me be a part of this organization. I'll see you in December. And he goes, we love having you, Woodsy. We love having you part of the team. And I have thought about the grassroots, the stuff that they've done in the community, the stuff, that we try to do to get people in the arena. And that's kind of,
they're on a similar timeline too. Maybe a year behind.
Maybe a year. They
two.
Started a year earlier, I think, or maybe a year behind. Yeah, 1 year later. And man, I got to tell you, dude, like they've got me. They got me for life. Like, but I was telling my wife yesterday, I go, honestly, there's a small part of me, knowing who our owner is, that's a little bit surprised that there hasn't been a bigger push for NBA, NHL, and I know he owns an NBA team already, a new arena. Things are hard to accomplish in this town. They're hard. The more major league teams we can get, in my opinion, I feel like, how's that a bad thing? It kind of just builds us, the city, up. This isn't some big crusade to eventually get the NFL back here for me. If they did, fine. But man, NHL would be sick. NBA would be sick. We deserve that here. And I wonder if MLS helps us get there. That's what I want to know.
So the Loyal, their fan support group is the Locals. And we've got the king of the Locals,
Stevie,
on the line right now.
Oh,
yes.
my Lord. You're the first person, brother, that I thought about. This is our pal, Steve Bruckoff. Now, Steve's dad lives across the street from me. He's one of my favorite humans of all time. Steve, also one of my favorite humans. When all this went down, man, you're the first person I thought of. I know we've talked to you about this a little bit before.
But that was a few months ago. That was kind of becoming a reality.
That was in the rumor mill. How's your sleep at night been, bud?
This week it's been pretty rough. Yeah, this has been keeping me up at night. I'm not gonna lie.
So, is there a way? I think that's the question. Is there a way to coexist? And let me just ask you kind of a pointed question. If the MLS comes to San Diego, would you support it?
Ooh, I mean, that's really direct because I think that there's a lot of open ends for me on that aspect. So I think you guys covered it pretty well. There's a big moral dilemma that's kind of ongoing right now, right? I mean, Loyal's the team that they started grassroots, and I supported them for the past 4 seasons, and that's my club. Like that's how this works in soccer and football. You have your club, and especially I'm going to extreme over in Europe. You're born into a city, and that's your team. That's your club for the rest of your life.
Win, lose, draw. Yeah.
Now, Steve, let me interrupt you real quick because I'm an idiot about this stuff. If you got an expansion MLS team, would that not be similar as far as starting a new grassroots? They're starting their franchise here in San Diego.
I mean, you make a fair point, but it depends on how they go about what already exists here, right? I mean, what's already here is a grassroots fan base and grassroots club that's done everything right so far. It's USL, it's not Major League Soccer, but from a soccer perspective, that doesn't matter. What matters is that they've done things the right way, and they've grown a fan base, and these MLS guys coming in, if they don't work with Loyal, if that doesn't happen. That's a problem.
That sucks. Yeah,
that's a problem. Like they need to acknowledge that what's here already and what exists. And so, yeah, maybe these MLS guys come in and they do everything the right way, but if they don't do it with what's already existed, that's a problem. Like for a lot of Loyal supporters, a lot of locals and Chavos members and people like that, like it's hard for me to go, okay, well, I'm going to support them, but they're just going to completely blast all the work that Loyal and we have done over the past 4 or 5 years, just ignore it. That's not okay with me morally. But on the flip side, yeah, what you guys are just saying, it's Major League Soccer, it's national recognition, it's all that stuff. So like, yeah, it's keeping me up at night because how do I find this balance here? Because yeah, sure, when we started this thing supporters groups 5 years ago, this is the pinnacle. This is it. Like, this is what you want. You want that national recognition. You want to go major league. You want to go top level, all that stuff. But I wanted it to be the right way.
Yeah.
And this doesn't feel like it doesn't. If they don't work with Loyal, it doesn't feel like the right way. And so how can I put my heart and soul that I put every week into Loyal matches? How could I put my heart and soul into something that I don't have like the verb for? Like,
well, and how
if I don't
conflicting is
truly
it?
feel it?
How conflicting is it that
you know?
your rabid loyalty to the Loyal probably played a factor in San Diego potentially getting an MLS team?
No kidding.
Look how much the Loyal fans support is. Like,
look how rich the soil is in San Diego.
If you would have done a worse job, Steve, maybe MLS wouldn't be coming down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one, dude. I think about all of you guys and all the guys I've gotten to know and over the years, and it's like you're asking them to just give away a piece of themselves. Honestly, you're like, no, it's selling. You're asking them to sell out, essentially, is what you're asking the Loyal fans to do. If the MLS team comes in and has nothing to do with what Loyal's established, you're asking them to say, that's fine. Yeah. Hey, well, whatever you need. Let me get the new kit. Let me get the new scarf.
5 great years.
It's been 5 great years, but see you guys later.
Yeah, that's tough.
I'm now a San Diego Dragon, or what? I don't know why I keep calling it Dragon. The Dragons. That's not a rumor or anything that they've been called. Man,
I hope that's not the name.
I hope it's not either. It's kind of a dumb name, I think. But I do. Like, you hear Steve talk about it. How do you not feel for that guy, right? How do you not feel for our pal Sports Brain, all of our boys and girls that love the Loyal and support him so much? So that's the dilemma. And I know that there are people, I've already seen them in the chat. San Diego's got a small town mindset. You know what? That's not always the worst thing. It's not always the worst thing. It's not. It's loyalty. That's loyalty. And that means something. So, man, what an interesting conversation. We can keep it rolling today for sure. Definitely want to talk to you guys about that. Got some news on Ohtani yesterday, some speculation maybe we're not going to like. We could preview Padres Twins tonight as well. Come next. Ben and Woods 97.3 The Fan. G. Williams in the YouTube chat says, I will only support if Ted Lasso is the coach. And strangely enough, we've got Danny Rojas, Cristo Fernandez, who plays Danny Rojas from Ted Lasso, joining the program in just 2 hours. I'm very, very excited for this interview. Big Ted Lasso fan. I've seen people complaining about Ted Lasso this year. People like to complain. I'm no different. I also will complain from time to time. Certainly, our boss Adam knows that. That being said, Ted Lasso, yeah, there's been some episodes. Have you watched this season at all, Paulie?
I have not watched season 3 yet.
Are you letting it
letting it
populate?
Yeah.
Yeah, you like to do that. I need it now.
It's weird.
Guys.
I understand that it's kind of a weird way to do it, but
no, what's
don't-
weird?
I don't get a lot of FOMO. I can avoid spoilers, and I need like a good 6, 7, 8 episodes to just
What's
crush
weird
in a weekend.
is that shows now, after when Netflix came out and just started dumping shows on. What's weird is that now shows have gone back to the once a week, and it murders me. It does, but it's also healthy because I will sit and watch 9 straight hours of Succession, or something. So the once a week, Ted Lasso. Yeah, there's been some interesting episodes. They've gone in some different directions. But man, and I will tell Cristo Fernandez that show came out at the perfect time for a lot of people in this country that were locked down in a pandemic, and it gave people hope and positivity and things that were so desperately lacking sometimes. So I'm very excited to talk to him. We're talking to Katie Woo in 35 minutes. She is the Cardinals beat writer for The Athletic, and honestly, like, as interesting as the Padres season has been, doesn't really get much more interesting in Major League Baseball this season than the St. Louis Cardinals. It really is the most fascinating team on the planet right now. And I say that as a fan of a team that has Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Juan Soto on it. The Cardinals are a more fascinating team, and not for good reasons. They're doing some really weird stuff. She has been on it. I mean, she has crushed her coverage this season. I know it's been difficult for her. The fans in St. Louis are passionate, to say the least, and can be a bit rude at times, just like most fans can. But she has really knocked it out of the park. So we'll be talking to her at 7:35. We'll have Don't Do This coming up as well. But had a new piece on ESPN Plus from Kylie McDaniel. It polled 26 Major League Baseball insiders to predict Shohei Ohtani's impending free agency and what he was going to command.
Dude,
the average salary guess was around 11 years, $524 million. I think that's low. Mets, the Padres, the Yankees, and the Dodgers are the obvious teams that everyone talks about. The some insiders also put Seattle, San Francisco, the Texas Rangers, and the Chicago Cubs as contenders. One quote, I think he uses the Padres and Mets to run up the price, but he wants to and will go with the Dodgers. And as much as it pains me to say, I that makes sense to me. It does make sense to me.
That's where you want to be. That would be smart business.
Yeah, I mean,
Peter Seidler and Steve Cohen in a bidding war.
Yes, that's a very smart thing to do. Now, one might say, "Oh, well, that's good, man. Let's let them spend $600 million. They got it. They can spend it. They have no problem spending it. They have spent a ton of money in the last 10, 12 years. I mean, so much money on salaries every year and payroll. Now, do they also develop homegrown talent? Yeah, they do. They're really good at it. And that helps them a lot. That said, they develop homegrown talent and they spend $200 million a season. So plus. And so I think the obvious move that everyone saw coming this year was, wait a minute, this is weird. Like, the Padres are in on Judge, Turner, and now Xander Bogaerts, and they're extending Machado, and they extended Cronenworth. The Dodgers picked up Jason Hayward and Noah Syndergaard, and they let Heaney walk, and they let Tyler Anderson walk, and they let Trey Turner walk, and they let all these guys walk. What the hell's going on? They let Cody Bellinger walk. It's obvious what they're plotting. they're not going to tank. They're not a team that's going to tank. They're not going to be active at the deadline, moving expensive pieces. They've got a good core right now of guys that they like. They will probably try to upgrade because they're playing okay baseball. I mean, they're playing about as good as baseball as we are. They got their butts handed to them last night by the Milwaukee Brewers, who are also playing good baseball. So
if you're looking to upgrade, there may not be a better upgrade in the history of Major League Baseball than the upcoming free agency of Shohei Ohtani. And we've hammered this point home before, but you're getting, like, I was reading that piece on ESPN by Kylie McDaniel, and one of the insiders, they're all anonymous, somebody said, you're basically getting a $35 million a year player at 2 positions.
Correct.
And saving a roster spot.
Yeah.
Now,
it's the perfect.
The dilemma, if you're a GM or a team owner that's going to be shelling out this money, God knows how much for Shohei Ohtani, is there's so much unknown. We've literally never seen this before. We have nothing to go off of. Logic would tell you that you're going to be paying, $60 million a year for 10, 11 years because the guy's an elite pitcher and an elite first baseman. Logic would say
outfield or DH.
Whatever.
DH.
Position player.
Yeah.
Logic says, how long can he do this?
Right.
How long can he do both? We were saying that year one with Shohei here in the big leagues. And he's so far just above and beyond expectations. But in 3 years, if you sign this mega deal for $60 million a year because you're getting a premier pitcher and a premier hitter, what if in 3 years he's like, I can't do both anymore, guys?
It's such a real possibility. I mean, it's not a dumb take at all. It's actually
he could stop playing. He could stop pitching next year. He could pitch for 10 more years.
Right.
Neither of which would surprise me.
You have no idea. And you do feel that there's certainly a fit there. Not too far from Anaheim. Obviously, there's a tradition. The Padres are certainly a fit, like in that you'd need them. I can't wrap my head around that, though. That to me is like, and I know Peter has never given us any indication that he's not in on him. Yeah. It's going to boil down to, like it does with I hate to say this because I don't know that it's true. I mean, I saw people yesterday saying, yeah, that doesn't seem like Ohtani. That he just the guy, the player, the person. It doesn't seem like he's the type of guy to say, I'm going to sit back and let everybody fight over me so I can eventually go to the Dodgers and get my prices high. I do feel, and he has said this before, fit is important. The fit, he wants to be comfortable. The other thing, he wants to win. He wants to win. Do the Padres give him a good chance to win? Yep. Do the Dodgers? Yeah, absolutely.
Yankees,
he's already going to
Mets.
make $100 million in endorsements. Okay. So that's got to factor in too. Let's put it this way. We're in contract negotiations here. If I had $100 million, if I had 100,000 in endorsements, you guys could get me for a little bit cheaper. If I knew I had 100,000 coming in endorsements of, very little work, and we could build the team around me to help win a World Series, which is the ultimate goal, fine, done. Whatever we need to do, let's go win a World Series together. And so who knows how it's going to play out, but I'll tell you what, man, if he goes to the Dodgers, it's going to be hard to hate that guy because I really like that dude. I really like him a lot. But, if he goes to the LA Dodgers, and again, this is what they're planning for. That's exactly why they went out and took some flyers on guys. And as it usually does with the Dodgers, some of those flyers have worked out. Now, Noah Syndergaard has not worked out. That hasn't worked out. Jason Hayward has worked out. I think he's already produced more than they thought he would at this point. But I don't know, man. It's going to be tough to look at that lineup with Shohei Ohtani in it. But you do make a good point. You're paying $600 million for the two-way player. If he ever turns into a one-way player, he's just a really expensive one-way player.
Still really good.
And I can't imagine that they would say, all right, like, how do you tell him if he can pitch, he has to pitch? If he can hit, he's got to hit. Like,
yeah,
there's no way to tell him, hey, man, pick one, because you need him at both. And that's why you pay a premium for him. So whoever pays him, that's what you're going to have to live with. Now, it's Cadillac problem of the highest order. Yeah, let me get him here, and then let's worry about his workload and everything else. Imagine slotting Shohei Ohtani in a lineup that already has Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado locked up, Xander Bogaerts locked up, and the rest of the guys so on. And Juan Soto's not locked up, but he could be.
He'd at least be here one more year.
He'd at least be here one more year. It hurts the brain. It hurts the brain to think about. So we'll see how that all plays out. Of course,
I thought it was interesting reading that story on ESPN and all these insiders predicting Ohtani's future. Not like nowhere in that article did I see even the possibility that the Angels re-sign him.
It's true.
The team he is currently on, nobody's even giving them a chance. Thought it was interesting to see like Texas, Seattle made sense. You saw what they did with Ichiro when he came here. San Francisco, same thing. I think they're a few players away, but Shohei definitely helps. West Coast, not that bad of a move for him. Chicago, the Cubs was a little interesting. Texas was a little interesting as far as insiders predicting that would be a good fit, but Texas has already spent a ton of money over the last couple of years, and you think adding a Shohei Ohtani certainly wouldn't hurt them. But
you wonder too, what happens? The Angels are in it. They're in second place or 2 games out of first right now. Now they've played 36 games, so it's 130 games to go, right, or whatever. So,
but we get into June.
If you get into June and they're out of it, man, Perry Minasian is the least enviable human being in the world. Shohei, do you want to sign an extension? No. I have to trade you.
You have to trade him.
You have to. You cannot let that guy walk at the end of the year and get zero in return.
You're already not going to get. I mean, how much are you going to get for
what are you going to get?
Ohtani? What kind of player value are you going to get for him, knowing that he's a free agent in 3 months?
I mean, people say, oh, the Padres have enough to get that trade done, and I'm like, they do. Like, who from the big league club is going? Because there would have to be. You'd need major league players, you'd need minor league players, you'd need top prospects, you'd need Merrill and Salas and everybody to go get that done at the deadline, in my opinion. Yeah. And then you got to, is he a 3-month rental? You're doing all that for a rental. It's nuts. I mean, this could be really the kookiest next couple of months. And if you're Perry Minasian, you're like, your only prayer is for them
to if he's under contract,
go on a run and win a World Series.
If he's under contract right now with the Angels, AJ Preller, he can't contact Ohtani's agent and be like, hey, we're working on a deal to acquire Shohei at the trade deadline, but we only are doing this knowing that we can sign him to an extension. Let's talk numbers. It can't do that yet, right? He can't talk free agency.
No, I mean, but I don't think you don't pull the trigger. It's just like Peter said about Juan Soto. I'm not trading you half my farm for a guy I don't think I can resign. Right. He may not. They may not want to. I mean, they may not want to keep Juan Soto long term. I think that they do, and I think that they'll try. Juan Soto may not want to be here. You never know. You just never, ever know. It's such a game of chess, and it's such a game of chance that you play. And if you do trade Shohei Ohtani at the deadline, Perry Minasian said last year at the winter meetings, he said, my kids ask me every day, like, Dad, you can't let him go. And he's like, I don't want to let him go. I want to win here. And Shohei has said, I want to win. That's the most important thing to him. So do the Angels offer him the best chance at winning a World Series? I don't think they do, but they're still in it right now. Only a couple games back, and they're battling, and Houston's not having a great year, and Texas is playing well. Seattle's kind of underachieving a little bit. So it's going to be one of the more fascinating 60 days, 90 days that baseball has ever seen.
Dude, and then the offseason.
And then
if he doesn't get traded, even if he does get traded, he's still free agent, unless I guess he could sign an extension.
Well,
the day after he gets traded, but
I will say,
unlikely.
Peter and AJ and the whole crew have surprised us before.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning, AJ. They've surprised us before. This would be the biggest surprise of all time. Now, I know we've said that before. This would be the ultimate prize. I think we do need to brace ourselves for the fact that this is what the Dodgers have been lying in the weeds for the last at least year. This is why they didn't do anything. So we will see how it all plays out. Katie Wu coming up at 7:35. We got Don't Do This coming up next.
First, no take on Woods today.
Oh, yeah, no take on Woods.
But because we're in a good mood, we're going to just give away a qualifier for our trip to Vegas for the month of May. So call now, 833-288-0973. you get a free pass. You don't have to take on Woods. We'll pick a caller. We'll get you qualified for a trip to Vegas.
Sounds fantastic to me. Just call in now.
Call in now.
833-288-0973. Call in now. We got Don't Do This coming up next. It's going to be
What a week.
what a
far
week
for
indeed.
Don't do this.
Yeah,
My
people
God.
lost their
It's
ever-loving minds.
Tuesday.
Yeah. People not remember that they're on microphones and stuff. Got a basketball coach that's probably going to lose his job today. And I think for good reason. We'll play as much of that audio as we can next.
Don't do this.
What were you thinking?
3 stories from the world of sports that make us all shake our heads.
How many times do I have to tell you?
I'm sorry, I fudged up, guys.
You idiot. You moron.
The apple sometimes does fall from the tree.
Don't do this
Do not tweet that.
with Ben and Woods
I like a Nickelback song or two.
on 97.3 The Fan.
Welcome back, Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan, as he just said. Actually, Ben is out today. He's got the sneezes. I think that was the official diagnosis. He's sneezing a lot. Yep. And he's out. So it's me and Paulie holding down the ship for you guys. In this hour of 97.3 The Fan, brought to you by Big O Tires. Summer's coming. You may be ready. What about your vehicle? Our friends over at Big O Tires can help right now. Get a full synthetic oil and filter change, just $69.99. For your nearest neighborhood Big O Tires location, visit bigotires.com. I will get us started on Don't Do This. This stuff happens in waves, and you feel like, do people remember that they're on camera, or do they remember that they're on a microphone? This was one of the most wheels off interviews I have ever heard
And like
in my entire life.
out of nowhere.
In my entire life, I have heard some wheels off interviews. We've done some wheels off interviews. This one takes the cake. West Virginia head basketball coach Bob Huggins goes on a Cincinnati radio show, Bill Cunningham's show on 700 WLW.
Long-time radio host out there.
He sounds like he's been doing it for a long time.
Huggins coached at Cincinnati for what? Damn near 20 years, I think.
It's been 15 years since he's been in Cincinnati, but they had the old ball coach on, and they got to chopping it up, and it went sideways fast.
Now, Steve also tells me that you have the best portal transfers. Have you poached any Xavier guys to come to play for West Virginia?
Catholics don't do that.
No, we're above the fracas, aren't we? No problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I tell you what, any school that can throw rubber penises on the floor and then say they didn't do it, my God, they can get away with anything.
Rubber penis. Was this
I think that was at the Crosstown shootout,
I
wasn't
think
it?
it was transgender night, wasn't it?
What?
Was that it?
It was a crosstown shootout. Yeah, no, what it was all those Catholic I think.
Wow. Holy.
All right.
Gay slur.
They were envious they didn't have one.
Steve, your comments about Bob Huggins. Is he the best?
He's the best.
Yeah, he's a real gem.
He's a real gem. They threw rubber penises on the floor, right? Sorry
I've
for
seen
the
that.
little ears out there.
I've seen that happen in sports.
Yeah. It's a weird one.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
Bills fans
Did it
that.
in the end zone.
Yeah.
And then he said, well, the Catholic gay slurs are upset because they didn't have one. And it just, the wheels just tore off the vehicle. And then the hosts, it sounded a touch out of touch as well.
All right.
They were envious they didn't have one.
Oh my God.
Steve, your comments about Bob Huggins. Is he the best?
He is. He's the
best.
All right. Well, listen.
I mean,
you know,
that's a don't do this on Huggins.
That's
That's
a
a don't do this on the radio hosts.
Yeah. So then the statement came out. He said earlier today on a Cincinnati radio program, was asked about the rivalry between my former employer, the University of Cincinnati, its crosstown rival, Xavier University. During the conversation, I used a completely insensitive and abhorrent phrase. There's simply no excuse for it. I won't try to make one here. I deeply apologize to the individuals I've offended, as well as to the Xavier University community, University of Cincinnati in West Virginia. As I've shared with my players over my 40 years of coaching, there are consequences for our words and actions. I will fully accept any coming my way. I'm ashamed and embarrassed and heartbroken for all of those I have hurt. I must do better, and I will.
He should be fired like today.
Today, I would imagine that he would. I mean, I saw people getting upset on Twitter and saying, you know, well, what about freedom of speech? You got it. He had it. He said it. He was free to say that.
Yes, he's not going to get arrested.
You're not absolved from consequence.
He's not going to prison.
Yeah, he's not going to jail.
But
you can't.
Freedom of speech does have consequences.
Right.
Still,
like I always say, consequences have actions. Paulie, people need to remember that. It's gnarly. Some of the gnarliest audio I've ever heard. Literally, like I can't believe that actually happened in the year 2023.
Yeah.
But the guy that had tweeted the article and was kind of going back and forth, people said, all right, man, so go to your office today, wherever it is that you work, and say that and see what happens to you. See what happens. Like, you're free to say it. You know that you have the ability to say it, but go into your office. If I walk back to my boss's office and said, hey, you're a blank, I'm out of a job. And I know that. I can't be surprised if I lose my job for saying that. If I said it on these airwaves, I can't be surprised that I lose my job. Right. So he's got to be out of a gig.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of a long piece of audio. But yesterday on the Gwen and Chris show, so we talked a little bit about Eduardo Perez and
DD mega doo-doo.
and what he said about Fernando Tatis Jr.
We also talked about his apology. He issued that like as we were getting on the air yesterday.
And I felt fine. It's fine. It's over with. It was a weird thing to say when he actually said, that's what a superstar looks like, Fernando. And it was a little weird. It felt like a kind of taking a shot.
Like, where did that come from?
Well, that came out of left field.
What the hell did Tatis do?
Or actually right field. He came out of right field when he said it, and he apologized. So Gwen and Chris, great job by them getting him on so soon after. And he was out there doing
do
this.
you do this to Ed Perez?
And I have not heard what he said on Gwen and Chris, but I'm excited to hear it now.
I saw, a lot of people offended at what I had said, and I was like, wait a second. I know that at one point I thought about it when I said it. I was like, no, it's not that. It shouldn't be that bad. But you move forward with it. And basically, Mookie Betts silenced the stadium yesterday, and it was something that superstars do. And when the camera was going around and showing the highlights, I was like, I saw Nando in the picture. And, just like we do on radio and we do on TV, we're seeing the stadium, but at the same time, we're looking at the monitor. And if it would have been Bob Melvin, if it would have been Clayton Kershaw, if it would have been whomever it was that showed up, at that point it was Fernando, I saw Nando, and immediately, as I was already thinking and saying, this is what superstars do. They show up at the big moments. Nando's picture showed up. They went to Nando, and I was like, Nando, this is what superstars do. I could have easily have said whomever's name came in after that. It wasn't meant as a disrespect to any player. It was more like, wow, this is, Mookie Betts. I mean, he's been doing this for years. It was, the big players show up at the big time, at the big moments. It was against Josh Hader. It was a huge home run that made this game go into extra innings. And I was, just like every fan, as impressed by what Mookie Betts did against Josh Hader. So,
wow. All right. Makes sense. Makes sense.
It's exactly what he said in his other apology. It's what Ben thought was the case.
Ben's TV guy, been a TV guy for 20 years. He's not here today because he's sneezing, but for 20 years, he has been on television. And yeah, I mean, you're talking to the master of the flub, certainly. And I don't necessarily think it was a flub, but your brain does weird things sometimes when the picture is put in front of you. And I don't think there was any ill will. He has spoken so highly of Fernando Tatis Jr. before. He gets a pass.
You ever like type a text message and something or someone pops in your brain and you type that word? It has nothing to do with what you're like.
It happens.
Brains are weird, man.
It happens. Great job by Gwen and Chris getting him on as well. I thought that was really good. He's out there, he's going to spin it a little bit. You have to. But if there's no ill will, no ill intent, I believe him.
Imagine if they would have shown like Brett Sullivan.
Yeah, that's what a super. Brett Sullivan's like, hey, man, I've been here I've been here for 10 days.
That's what a superstar looks like, Sullivan.
That is don't and do this.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Always a good time when we get to catch up with our beloved Katie
I see her on Zoom right now.
The most exciting team in baseball, and not for the play on the field necessarily, but the most interesting things are happening and really have been happening with the St. Louis Cardinals all season. We will talk to Katie Woo next, right here on Ben and Woods. Be right back. Welcome back, Ben and Woods. Minus Ben, sniffly, sneezy. But you got Dopey and Sleepy here with you. Woodsy and Paul holding it
Can
down.
I ask you again, who's Dopey and who's Sleepy?
I'll be Dopey.
Okay,
It's
I'm
fine.
Sleepy.
You can be Sleepy. It kind of works, I think. What are the other ones? Dopey, Sneezy, Slippy, Slappy, Swami. I don't remember. It's fine. We got Katie Wu on hold
this
right
is
now.
important.
It is.
Dopey, grumpy, sneezy, bashful, sleepy, happy.
I'll be grumpy. I'm grumpy.
I'm bashful.
You're
grumpy.
I am grumpy. All right, you got grumpy and bashful here. Sneezy is out today. Hopefully he's back tomorrow. We're going to be joined by our pal Katie Wu, covers the St. Louis Cardinals for The Athletic, right after this quick check of traffic.
From the Premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto Family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the San Diego County Sheriff's Department. Crash on the coastline, southbound side of the 5. This is right before Palomar Airport Road. Everything is over to the right shoulder. Eastbound 78 past Twin Oaks Valley Road. Might still find some debris from a ladder that was in lanes. Looks like a couple vehicles may have hit that. So just watch out for a little slow traffic there. The San Diego County Sheriff's Department is working hard to keep San Diego safe and is now hiring. The Sheriff's Department offers rewarding careers with growth and has an opportunity for anyone with integrity that wants to make a difference. Go to joinsdsheriff.net to learn more. That's joinsdsheriff.net. And Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And joining us now on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline and on our YouTube chat as well, our beloved Katie Wu. Good morning, Catherine. How are you?
Good morning. But no good morning to Ben, who, apparently thinks he can take the day off. How disappointing.
It's kind of weird because I feel like almost every time we've talked to you, he's been out. I think you intimidate him a little bit. And he just like, oh, Katie Wu's coming on. I'm out. I'm just going to take the day off and sit home and sneeze. But you're in Chicago right now. Yeah.
I am. It's very cold in Chicago. I feel a little cheated. I thought summer months were coming. I thought better vibes were coming. I guess I was wrong all around.
Been following. I always follow your work. This year, in particular, though, it's been a bit of a rough start. Now I know the Cards have won their last 2 games, but they are 2-8 in their last 10. And I wanted to ask you just one simple question: is Ollie Marmol okay? Is he all right?
That's a great question. I've asked him that almost every day for the past 2 weeks, and usually his go-to word is fantastic. We'll leave that up to him whether he means it or not. But no, certainly just a brutal start to the season for St. Louis. The strangest of times. I think no matter where you look, the record, the current play, the product on the field, the product off the field. Don't even get me started on Contreras, which I know you will.
Oh, yeah.
It just is like an unrecognizable brand of baseball for St. Louis, and it has certainly made for a whirlwind of the first 5 weeks of the season.
It really has, and I see we have a very passionate fan base here with great expectations comes. The expectations can be brutal, and I honestly think that we all thought the Padres would lose like 3 games of the first 30. 27-3 sounded good to me. It just hasn't worked out that way. And the St. Louis Cardinals have a rich tradition of winning. Now, I wanted to ask you, though, this kind of started like the first week of the season when Ollie benched Tyler O'Neill, said he wasn't running hard. It looked to everyone like he was running hard. Tyler said he was running hard, but he blasted him in the media. And that's a young player that they're counting on. Did that kind of set a tone for how things were going so far in the season?
Yeah, I think that's a fair question. But honestly, that wasn't the first time that Ollie Marmol publicly benched a player and said that level of play is not up to our expectation. He actually did that with Harrison Bader when Bader was still a Cardinal last year. Harrison didn't run out of play to first base, and Harrison came to the media and said, yeah, I didn't handle that right, and I totally support the decision. And everything was blown over from there. The issue I think that spiraled was Tyler and Ollie not being on the same page of whether or not he was running hard. But that did not really impact the clubhouse, I think, as much as it might have seemed publicly. I think for the most part, the Cardinals know what they have in Ollie Marmol. He's honest. He's going to do what he's going to do with the media. And certain players are going to take exception to that, but both parties moved on within a couple of days. I think that issue is highlighted because the Cardinals took a devastating dive ever since, and they haven't been able to come back. And it seems like every decision they've made since that incident, which took place literally on the 5th game of the season, has spiraled even worse. So I can certainly see why that looks like the starting place. But honestly, there wasn't that big of a ripple effect minus the first few days with Tyler. Everyone else seemed to turn the page pretty quickly there.
It's so interesting. We're talking to Katie Wu, covers the Cardinals for The Athletic, one of our favorite guests of all time. And I do wonder, Katie, the Willson Contreras, I think it can be categorized now. I think you could call it a fiasco. It's a bit of a fiasco, certainly. And, you know, when you play in a division with a guy for as long as they've seen Willson Contreras a ton over the years. They kind of knew what they were getting. Now, replacing Yadi, we've always had some fun with Yadi on the show. Apparently his influence, and apparently he was really good. We knew he was a really good catcher. I think everybody shortchanged just what he brought to the organization. What has been the problem with Willson Contreras, or has there been one? I mean,
what's the problem with the Cardinals?
What's the problem with the Cardinals? Exactly.
I think it's an organizational problem. And you're right. I think everybody underestimated, while still being very appreciative of Yadier Molina. I mean, you know this in St. Louis. Yadier Molina is basically like the president.
Yeah.
But I think they really shortchanged and underestimated the adjustment that it was going to take. Think about this. Yadier Molina has been behind the plate, or had been behind the plate for the Cardinals for almost 2 decades. President of Baseball Operations, John Mozeliak, had never had to go find a starting catcher. He'd never had to reorganize the philosophy behind the plate, because Yadier Molina just had this innate ability to call a game, to read swings in real time, to know exactly how to read the opponents, the opposing defense, or the just the opposition in general.
Yeah.
And when the Cardinals go out and they find a new catcher, they knew that was going to be hard to replace. But I think everyone, from the front office to the coaching staff to the rotation especially, did not realize how difficult it was going to be to adjust to that. And in Wilson's defense, or in Wilson's case, he didn't realize how difficult it was going to be adjust to that. And it doesn't mean that he's not up for the challenge or that he's not putting in effort. He is. I think that's the one thing the Cardinals have been consistent about throughout this whole fiasco has been Wilson's effort. This is not a message of poor effort. This is a guy that wants to do well and be here. It's just taking a very long time for everyone to get on the same page. You look at the optics of the situation, certainly pulling the starting catcher that you spent almost $88 million for the next 5 years. It's like the largest free agent contract the Cardinals have ever handed out to a player that wasn't previously with the organization. So that's always good. When you pull that behind the plate 5 weeks into that 5-year deal, it's stunning. It's a staggering decision. But I think this is what, listening to Ollie Marmol explain this yesterday, they think it's a proactive decision because their other option is to just continue throwing him behind the plate and having this spiral. And 2 months from now, no one on that pitching staff is going to trust him. They're going to be fed up. And the organization felt like nobody was going to be able to come back from that, whether that be Wilson, the coaching staff, the pitching staff. It would have been bad for everybody. So they decided to temporarily yank him for now, deal with the public backlash, and hope and pray that everything starts to turn around, especially that 12-24 record of theirs.
And talking to Katie Wu from The Athletic, pitchers are creatures of habit. Clayton Kershaw had a personal catcher for many years, didn't provide much offensively. Willson Contreras is an offense-first catcher, but he's caught some good pitchers in his career. A friend of mine was talking about it too. He said, look, I think the difference is, at least in their starting rotation, they've had guys that do it with a bit more guile and a little bit less stuff. And when you don't have the really, really good stuff like the Rays and guys like Garrett Cole and things like that, they've got guys that get it done 90 miles an hour and 92, 93. You need a catcher that knows exactly what to call and when. I ask you this, though. Do you think the pitch comm situation and the play clock and all that, do you think that's hampered his development a little bit?
Oh yeah, I think it's really impacted the whole situation. I think the pitch clock, the Cardinals really didn't not understand, but really think through how the new rules this year would impact how they pitch. The Cardinals, like you mentioned, Woodsy, they're ground ball guys. They don't get a lot of swing and miss, although that actually has improved under new pitching coach Dusty Blake, but no one really cares about that when you're 12-24, let's be honest. They're a type of style that pitchers can pitch to contact and they have their defense to back it up. And that's worked for years because the Cardinals were able to shift really efficiently. They had all the information and they played very smart baseball in terms of defensive positioning. Well, limiting the shift impacts that. They can no longer do that. They can do it to some extent, but not fully. You also have the pitch clock where pitchers who, again, are adjusting to a new catcher. Let's keep in mind, Willson Contreras stayed in spring training did not go to the WBC, while half the pitching staff, including pivotal arms like Adam Wainwright, Miles Michaelis, Giovanni Gallegos, all went to the WBC. Now, they have every right to do that. This is not an argument on whether or not they should have. But that does also impact a little bit of the preparation tactics. You add in pitchers still getting to know Contreras. You add in the pitch clock, where pitchers now feel like they don't have enough time to shake off, step off, or go, even have a mound visit in situations where it's really needed to figure out what to throw. And you have a defense that is still good, but hasn't been able to shift in ways that they were prior. And I think it just kind of snowballed effect. Certainly has not been the best 2 or 3 days for Contreras. But I think the Cardinals, their messaging here is like, hey, this is not all Wilson's fault, although the optics certainly suggest otherwise.
It's not all Wilson's fault, but you're no longer our catcher. It's tough. Yeah, Woodsy, you're doing a great job, but don't come in anymore, right? Like,
see ya, thanks.
Okay,
thank you, Dex.
It's not my fault. Sounds great. Yeah, exactly. Katie Wu joins us from The Athletic. No, it's been a really, really interesting thing, and John Mozeliak came out and said the GM. He said, well, hindsight is 2020, and I sat back in my chair and I went, oh my God, it's rare. It's rare to see that much honesty from a GM 5 weeks into a 5-year deal. I just, you hope Wilson's a good kid. You hope that it doesn't affect him. Now, it hasn't affected him at the plate. It was getting knocks last night, driving in runs. Like our pals from Cespedes Family Barbecue, we had on Jake yesterday, and he said, I think, it's organizational hubris, thinking we can turn anybody into what we want. It's not cookie cutter. Baseball's different. But when you have the Cardinal way, the weird thing is like he's bought in. That's the weird part. He's bought in. It's just taking him a little bit longer to catch up. So it's certainly a strange situation.
Yeah, I mean, everything about this season is strange. Seriously, I walked into the clubhouse yesterday and I was like, oh my gosh, because the music scared me. It's been a minute since I had walked into a winning clubhouse. The Cardinals had lost 8 straight before winning on Sunday. And yesterday was the first time they had won 2 games in a row since April 11th, 12th at Colorado. So I think that also really emphasizes the whole fiasco. I love that word. I'm going to start using it.
Such a great word.
That whole fiasco in St. Louis, starting catcher no longer catching, the overall record, the poor play. It's really just been a stunning start. It's not even a start to the season anymore. It's really just been a stunning season for St. Louis. And look, I do see the humor in, the Cardinal way. We can fix this guy that everyone knows has had this rap about not being the best framer or not being the best defensive catcher, but we can fix that, and we can fix that in 4 weeks. I think they've found out very quickly it's going to take a lot more than that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still a long season. It's going to be interesting how it plays out. You don't want anybody to lose trust. You don't want the pitchers to be like, I don't want to throw to this guy. I mean, it has I think it was, now that you mention it, I do feel like it's a bit more proactive than I originally thought it was, instead of reactive. I feel like, all right, if we can nip this in the bud now, we can have a nice long, 5-year scene with Wilson Contreras, because he is a good baseball player and he's a passionate baseball player. He's fiery. They were all really excited. That's what I try to tell Padre fans, like, remember how you felt the day they got Juan Soto. Keep that feeling. I think he's going to turn it around. I do. He's got a track record that says he will. And you can't turn your back on these guys so quick, especially after, 5 weeks, and when he's still valuable to the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, like, huge credit to Ollie Marmol yesterday, who sat with me in like this tiny corner under the Wrigley Field dugout because it was so cold yesterday, and explained to me how this could act, how he really does feel this is proactive. And when he framed it the way that he did, and honestly, like, I do believe this part. I know there's been a lot of mixed messaging, but I thought he did make a great point with it. We either address this now and we wear it, because the Cardinals,
they're wearing it. Yeah,
they're wearing it. We're all wearing it. The Cardinals will not publicly state what they want Wilson to work on. And, it's probably a smart idea at this point for them. But they do feel like if we handle this now, if we address it now, we avoid the possibility of what they thought was inevitable, of these issues continuing to snowball, whatever they were, and the pitching staff ultimately losing trust. And then what do? You have 5 years with a catcher that nobody wants to work with. So I think they do want to put in the effort with Contreras. It's a really horrible look, especially they did it right before his return to Wrigley Field. But Contreras, honestly, I think it was a really hard decision for him to fathom. Adam Wainwright and Jack Flaherty had a meeting with him on Sunday. That was Ollie's idea. everyone got back on the same page. And once it's framed as this is a proactive decision, not a punishment, I think that really helped turn the overall mindset from Wilson from a -1 to a somewhat positive one.
How are the best fans in baseball handling all of this? I mean, what do you guys 12 and 24? I mean, I legitimately wondering. I imagine the comment section on the Athletic.
I've seen it,
and your mentions are just dumpster fire.
Shit. I think about you every
We're one
day.
game above 500 here in San Diego, Katie. And
Katie, my hair's falling out. All right, we're one game above 500. My hair's
see mine
falling
right now, but same. I like it's like orange right now. I'm struggling.
It's so gnarly. It's so gnarly. Well, fan is fanatic. We know that. You're doing such a great job. And listen, I mean, you know, I promise you the Rays beat writer isn't having this much fun with them just dominating almost every game. It's got to get old writing about wins every game, and at least you have stuff to cover.
Oh yeah, I say all the time, you guys. I have this is my 3rd year on the Cardinals beat, and I don't think there has been one single day that I have been bored here.
Yeah, no question.
They keep it entertaining. I will give them that.
They do, and you are very entertaining. One of our favorite guests, Katie Woo. Thank you. We will catch up with you very soon. Appreciate you. Stay safe. Don't read the comments.
Don't read the comments, and Ben, hope you feel better soon. I'm sure you'll avoid me next time.
I'm sure
he'll
he
be
will.
on 4th vacation
He's
probably by the time the Cardinals come.
Terrified. We should have her on every time
Thanks,
he's
Katie.
gone. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon. She is just the best. That is Katie Woo. Joined us, of course, on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. I do, man. Polly, I go and look at. She'll tweet, 3-run homer for so and so from the
just a
Tigers.
factual moment of the game.
It's just never ending. It's never ending. But she covers it as well as anybody in the country does, man. She knows the game, and just one of my favorite people and one of my favorite guests, the great Katie Woo. On Ben and Woods, we got a killer second half of the show. As I mentioned early, if you missed it, Jesse Agler will not be joining us today. He had a family situation pop up, so hopefully he's okay.
We will hear from Jesse. We didn't play this yesterday. Got a little story that he told over the weekend during one of the broadcasts.
I love this.
So we will get a little bit of Jesse Agler in our 8 o'clock
Yeah, we
hour.
will get a little Jesse. We'll have a Rhino report coming up, and at 9 a.m., you got to be here, man. We're talking to Cristo Fernandez, Danny Rojas from Ted Lasso, one of the best shows ever. Great get. Very excited to talk to him at 9. So stay with us. It's Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. All right. Surprisingly, Paulie, we're only halfway home on a Tuesday morning. No Padre game last night.
Oh boy.
To discuss. I just had to block somebody in the chat. It's getting a little bit out of control in there. So please keep it clean, keep it respectful. My Lord. Come on. It's YouTube chat. It's like a it's a terror zone in there sometimes. Keep it clean out there, guys. Lord. We are Ben and Woods, minus Ben. Ben is home. He's sick. He's tweeting or he's texting us, though. Did you see that?
I did.
We were talking about the Seven Dwarves, and he contributed Bashful and Doc. I didn't know Doc was a Seven Dwarf, one of the Seven Dwarfs. Is that from Snow White?
Yes.
Is it? Okay. Well, I'm grumpy, and Paulie is bashful, and Ben is sneezy because he's out today. He's out with the sneezes. I don't know how you fix that. I don't know how you, like, if you're sneezing
Just
a
gotta
bunch,
ride it out?
do you just ride it out? That sounds terrible. I do love a good sneeze, though. And I'll rip usually like 2 or 3 at a time. And it feels good when you do it, but it would be annoying to do it all day long. And that's what our beloved Ben is going through. Yeah, he picks some interesting days for vacation and sick days. So that's the one thing that with Ben, there's no game last night to talk about. So Paulie and I could have done the first 2 hours would have been on the Padre game last night, could have ripped some calls, etc. And, without a game, it makes it a little bit more difficult. We lost, we're a guest down. Jesse Agler's not going to be joining us today. We do have a killer Jesse Agler story, one that really surprised me.
Yeah.
Because he's talking about Brett Sullivan. If you missed this on the broadcast over the weekend, it's really, really good. I like Brett Sullivan. I'm a Brett Sullivan fan. He looks catcherish to me, and has had a couple big hits already in his very, very young Padre career. We'll wonder who will get the call tonight, catching Michael Wacha. The Padres are in Minnesota right now. They're going to take on the Twins for 3. And Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo, Yu Darvish going up against the Twins, 19 and 16, very similar type teams. They're going to be throwing Louis Varland, who I know nothing about, Pablo Lopez, who's a really good pitcher, and Bailey Ober to the mound for the series. There's very little history between these two teams at all. They've met only 23 times before. Now,
who do we got? Wacha, Lugo,
Darvish. Yeah. They had a 3-game series at Petco last season. It was their first since 2017. And Padres did take 2 of 3. But we threw Snell, Musgrove, Minaya, and the Twins threw Joe Ryan, Sonny Gray, 2 really good ones, and Dylan Bundy as well. So Wacha is 3-1 with a 4.13 against Minnesota, 5 career appearances, including 2 last year for the Red Sox. He was 1-0 with a 164 and 12 strikeouts against them last year. So, all right, I like the matchup. Wacha's been pitching really well of late, so we'll see what the lineup looks like. Let's see. Tonight is Louis Varland. He has never appeared against the Padres. I will be honest with you. I don't know who Louis Varland is. Louis?
I didn't know. I won't even say I knew a little about him.
Louis Varland. He's an American baseball player. Paul.
Okay. Got that.
He's 6'1".
Good to know.
He's a starting pitcher. And he is a right-hander. So you're going to see some of the lefties get in there tonight, I imagine. 25 years old. He's from Minnesota. He was born in St. Paul, so he's a hometown kid. So they will be there having his back tonight. Yeah, pretty big series, man. They're all big series for a World Series contender, a team with World Series aspirations. You just don't feel like every game feels like an NFL game right now. It just does. And as much as we're trying to change it, and I know people are trying to get their heads around it, saw a great tweet from Joe Sheehan yesterday, and it got me thinking a little bit. Joe Sheehan is a guest we've had on our show before, phenomenal baseball man, tweeted this yesterday, Paulie. We've gotten so much worse at communicating the rhythms of the long season. Baseball was never meant to be covered like football. It would be nice if we stopped doing that. One of those tweets that made me sit in my chair and think about. I don't know how to do it for what we do. I don't know that we can. I guess we can try to calm people down after you get swept or you lose 2 or 3 to the Dodgers. That's something we can do. The problem is that when you do that,
it's hard to be even keel.
When you come in on Monday after you drop 2 heartbreakers to the Dodgers, people are like, dude, you're so soft. You're such a cheerleader. And it's like, man, I'm trying to do what Joe Sheehan is absolutely right about when he says baseball was never meant to be covered like football. And I will say this, man, I'm not going to sit in here and tell you I'm a long-time Padre fan. I'm not. I've been a Padre fan since I moved here. I started watching the team in 2010. And a bigger fan when they signed Manny Machado. I've worn that my entire life. We get fired today. I'm a Padre fan till I die. Till I die. This is the town I'm going to live in till I die. So whether that's next week or 25, 30, 40 years from now, I'm going to be rooting for the San Diego Padres. That being said, there have been some newer fans over the last couple of years that were really, I don't even want to say, I'm not going to say bandwagon because I'm one, right? But newer to baseball, like, oh man, this is actually pretty fun. I'm going to watch
in town.
But they're all football fans too. And there's a football mentality that you kind of have to drill out of your head as you undertake a baseball season. And you find yourself, based on the fact that you got to the NLCS last year and lost, and you beat the Dodgers and the Mets, and it was awesome to have playoff success. And you signed Xander Bogaerts and Juan Soto's here. Like, it's so hard to take yourself out of a football mindset. And a lot of the newer fans are huge, huge football fans. And you can see it in the panic that comes through. This guy's got to go. There was somebody on Padres Facebook yesterday that said, Josh Hader's the worst closer. And that's the stuff that makes me want, to just stab myself. I don't understand how you could watch this team and think that. Like, every closer blows saves. Mariano Rivera blew one in the World Series. Trevor Hoffman has blown tons of saves.
No one's going to deny that it sucks when it happens.
It sucks when it
does
happens.
happen.
And it doesn't make you soft to come in here and say, hey, man, we were one pitch away. Honestly, we were one pitch away from winning that series. One pitch. He rolls that over. That's it. Hey, we just took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers. And I understand you can't have a football mentality when you're covering baseball. And even we are guilty of that. I know I am. I mean, I didn't even want to talk Sunday night after that game. I was livid. I had to put Bo to bed. And I was like, yep, great. Okay, Bob. Yep, we'll see you tomorrow. I'll pick you up from school. Good night. And that sucks. That's not what you want. So just try to keep in mind as, you go through these series. But it's not like, Paulie, we could come in here and go Monday through Thursday. We're just in here playing grab ass, having fun, doing bits. Ben's reading raps. I'm doing music trivia. And then, hey, on Friday, we'll cover the week that was in the San Diego Padres.
Right.
That's not going to fly.
Yeah.
That's not going to fly.
Our weekly Padres report.
like every Friday. All right. Well, hey, pretty good week for the guys. They won Sunday.
We'll talk about it more in October, but yeah.
Right. I mean, look, there are probably markets that are that way. San Diego's different. San Diego stands alone. It's our only major league franchise here. So it stands alone. You do feel like we're going to have to cover this team every day. And trust me, it ain't a have to. It's a get to. We are the luckiest cats around.
God, right now, look at Phoenix, for example.
Yes.
Biggest city to our east, right? Like, they can touch on the Diamondbacks, and when that gets stale or the Diamondbacks aren't performing great,
they're all basketball right now.
The Nuggets. The Suns are playing the Nuggets in the semifinals.
Yes, they're all basketball, and the Diamondbacks are good, but I bet you they're not giving them much attention.
You got Cardinals mini camp, right around the corner.
Yeah, the draft and all their picks and everything.
This is all we got.
This is it. So San Diego again is a really unique market, and I love it. I love that about us because I could sit and talk baseball all day long. And I love that. So, yes, big series. They're all big series. They're all big league teams. You do feel like, these two teams match up well together. Can't wait to see what happens. I mean, I do have that feeling in my stomach. Now, when the Padres, it's game day. Yesterday, there was a day off, and it was weird. It felt strange. Having that pit in my stomach of like, oh, boy, 4:40. Here we go. Can't wait. Already planning my afternoon around. I'm going to get the kids a little early, so we can go hit some grounders, then be home by the time first pitch starts. That is a football mentality. That is a football mentality.
Yeah.
And I have it. And I was guilty as the next person, just trying to figure out how to navigate through that. One guy that helps us navigate through it every single week is Jesse Agler. But as I mentioned, he will not be joining us today. Had a family thing pop up. So no problem. We will catch up with Jesse as soon as we can. And but he did tell a killer story over the weekend about the origin of Brett Sullivan's nickname.
He sent this over to me. He texted me over the weekend. I think this was on Saturday.
Yeah, he said, check this out.
Just told a killer Brett Sullivan nickname story you guys might enjoy on the show.
Obviously, Brett Sullivan's nickname, obviously, is Sully.
Sully.
For your whole life, you're Sully. What a great
Woodsy.
Paulie. Benny. What a great, or Higgy. Mud Grant calls him Higgy. Higgy, which I love. He's Benny to me. You're Paulie to me. I'm Woodsy to you guys. He's Sully.
Sully.
Forever. It's the coolest nickname too. Sully. Sully, you sound like a hard ass. Like you know how to take down a shot of whiskey and a beer.
Oh yeah.
You smoke Camels. You're Sully. Oh, Sully, solid. Sully's a solid dude.
Ooh, Sully?
And he looks like a Sully. His nickname's not Sully though. Jesse Agler explains.
Around the ballpark, of course, whenever Brett Sullivan is walking around, you hear people calling after him, either from the clubhouse or the dugout or the stands. Hey, Sully, Sully. Here's the 0-1 pitch. It is low and outside, 1-1. And I don't know that there's ever been anybody in the history of names whose last name was Sullivan who didn't have people call them Sully. However, that is not Brett's actual nickname, if you will. 1-1 pitch is inside and low, 2 balls and a strike. This was a hot tip I received the other day, and I went to Brett yesterday before the game to talk to him about it, and boy, did he laugh and smile when I brought it up. His nickname, and you got to bear with me, is Booty. 2-1 pitch, hit in the air to deep right field. Betts is back.
Booty.
He is at the wall, leaps up and makes the catch. Up against the fence, and Sullivan just missed another Major League home run. 2 down here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Now, it's not what you're thinking, which is why I ask you to stay with me. When Brett was born, his older brother is about 15 months old. And as his older brother was learning to speak, his parents were trying to hype him up about having a little brother. And they said, you got a new buddy. You're going to have a new buddy. And his older brother, being not even 2, Fernando takes inside and said, oh, a booty. I'm going to have a booty. And it's stuck. It's stuck. So everybody who knows Brett Sullivan, they don't call him Sully, call him Booty. They call him Booty.
Booty.
That's
I love
just
that.
phenomenal. Phenomenal. Booty. I'm going to have a booty. I need that clipped, though. Jesse Agler saying, I'm going to have a booty, because I feel like that could be a good entrant into the tournament of drops next year. Just Jesse Agler saying, I'm going to have a booty. And so if you see Brett Sullivan, don't yell out Sully, because that's not his nickname. His nickname is Booty. And it's just that simple. Okay?
Oh, a booty. I'm going to have a booty.
Yeah, a booty. I'm going to have a booty. Holy
cow.
cow.
A booty. I'm going to have a booty.
So tonight, Padres, Twins, again, 4:40 first pitch. Louis Varland against Michael Wacha. Here we go. Our Super Bowl
Time to get
tonight.
right.
Let's get your heads right. Get your barbecue going. No, it's fun, man. It is really fun being a fan of and getting to cover this team. It really is spectacular, because you honestly never know what you're going to get. You could get an offensive explosion. You could get a pitcher's duel. Don't really know how to handicap this game. If I was going to bet on this game, somebody tweeted,
Twins are favored.
The Twins are favored. Yeah. Somebody said, Woodsy, the Padres have a worse winning percentage against the Twins than anybody else in Major League Baseball. And I think I said their record overall is like 6-17 or something. So yeah, listen, who cares about that? That means literally nothing. Just go out and win. Take this series. That's really the point all season. Win today. Win today. Figure out how to win a game today, then figure out how to win one tomorrow and win a series. That's it. It's going to be a gnarly week, man. We get the Dodgers in LA coming up this weekend. We're going to be broadcasting live as well. Wanted to let you guys know we'd love to see you Friday. Come on out as we broadcast live at AleSmith Brewing Company. Yeah, we start at 6 a.m. with us, and hopefully Ben is back from his sneezing fit. Then Braden's going to be on after us. Then
Come
Glenn
say
and
hi.
Chris.
Ben will sneeze on you.
Ben will sneeze on you. There's going to be coffee, food, and $5 $3.94 pale ales all day long. They've got a really cool Tony Gwynn museum at AleSmith as well that will
Badass.
am I mistaken, or is today Tony Gwynn's birthday? Senior. Would you look that up for me? Because I did see somebody tweet that. All day long. People of all ages are welcome to join. Don't forget to stick around afterwards to watch the Padres play the Dodgers with the sound on throughout the entire tasting room today.
Yeah.
All right. Happy birthday.
May 9th, 1960.
To the GOAT, man. The legendary Tony Gwynn. Today is his birthday. So we will be right back. Let's take some calls. If you guys want to talk some Padres, I'd love to hear from you. 833-288-0973. And then we'll have a Rhino report. And don't forget 9 a.m.
Super excited about this.
Cristo
Shout out to Tier
Fernandez.
1 Chris helping us. I don't know. He knew somebody that worked with Cristo.
This is taking a minute.
He got the ball rolling about, 2 months ago, and we finally made it happen. Just one of my favorite shows of the last It's only been around 3 years, but dude, it's so good. I love Ted Lasso. So excited for Danny Rojas.
Danny Rojas
Football is life.
will be joining us at 9 a.m. I hope. You never know.
Fingers
but
crossed.
Fingers are crossed. I think that'd be funny if we just promoted big interviews and they never came on. See how that would work.
I worked with a guy that used to do that.
That's a true statement.
I'm not joking even a little bit.
Donald Trump is coming on my show later.
Yeah, Howard Stern wants me to come on. I don't know if I should. What?
These are true stories. This business is filled.
The tell-all someday is
The
going to
tell-all
make me rich.
podcast, Paulie. This business is filled with psychopaths. Be right back. Welcome back, Ben and Woods minus Ben. Hi, Adam. Out there. What you doing, buddy?
Wandering around.
Lurking.
Just
Walked in here twice.
He's early. He's lurking early.
I'm trying to monitor the chat and send out tweets and be ready. Here on Ben and Woods. Ben's out today.
Wingers.
Woodsy and Paulie, your president and your vice president. We have a caller on the line. Paulie, somebody that wanted to.
Thomas is weighing in here.
Morning, Thomas. How are you, buddy?
Hey, good morning, Woodsy. I've got the perfect solution here. I'm coming to you as the president to make an executive decision here. The tier ones, I know what the problem is with Juan Soto. The tier ones have done this guy a total disservice by making him the number one on the tournament of drops, and he just can't handle the pressure.
He's a lot of pressure, dude. It's a lot of pressure.
We need to change it and put Adam Klug back in. Who should I voted for him? So
well, we all did.
I think if we take the pressure off of Juan Soto, it'll just allow him to be himself and get back to the person he's called to be.
You know, man, I'm
Good morning, everybody.
It's not the best drop. It's a fine drop, but there's no way it beats that.
Is it extra sweet because it's against the Dodgers?
There's no way. We do our tournament of drops every year. We put it out. We had 32 drops. We whittled it down. People
Just
voted.
don't get it.
Paulie, I don't know that I, as the president, can come in here and just overturn an election.
Slippery slope.
Can I do a recall and we redo it and we put it up on Twitter for a revote? Recalls,
Just those two?
Just those two.
I mean, you're the president.
I am the president. All right. I demand a recall, a recount. Sorry, that's what they call it. I demand a recount. 24 hours. If Juan wins again, he is he's the king. But I think as a president, I'm not overturning the election. I'm not using absolute power here, but I will sign off on a recount because I do feel like maybe at this point we could turn the tides. And this could be the thing that gets the Padres season on track.
Whatever it takes at this point.
Yeah, at this point, what wouldn't you do for the Padres to go win a World Series? There's not much. We actually talked about it yesterday. Some of the things that we would do for them to win a World Series, how amazing it would be for our city, for the fan base, and for, you know, as we mentioned, today is Tony Gwynn's birthday. And, you know, you just got to imagine what it would do for this long-suffering city, this long-suffering fan base. It would be the greatest. Those guys would be the biggest legends in baseball. Just like those Cubs were. You know, I know the Cubs only won that one, Paulie.
2016.
They won that one. They're etched in history forever. You brought a World Series championship to the most maligned turd in baseball, the lovable losers, the let's just get drunk and go to a Cubs game.
Once
in the
the
middle
Red
of
Sox
the day.
got theirs in, was that 03? 04?
Yeah.
Whatever.
I don't even remember.
Once they got that, and they've gotten several others since then, but once they got that first one, it's like everybody's sights turned to the Cubs.
Yep. Then the Cubs got theirs. And there's some teams out there that haven't won one. But I feel like this organization, this city lost its football team, lost a lot. And I feel like the fact that the Padres are really the only major league game in town, this fan base certainly deserves it. And it would be very, very special. So I think let's get a recount going on that. And if the tier ones weigh in again that it's Juan Soto instead of the best drop in Ben and Woods history, I don't know what to tell you at that point.
Is it extra sweet because it's against the Dodgers?
We are a democracy, and I do believe in being democratic. And but I do think a recount is fair. At this time, we've had some time to think about it, and I think people might realize, oh, God, I made a mistake.
We've seen how it played out.
And it hasn't. I mean, it's been okay. It hasn't been great.
Could be better.
There's deep dives that you can do to make things look good, and I'm guilty of it as the next guy, certainly. He's not the worst hitter on the team. He's not the biggest problem on the team, but yeah, so far it's been a little bit underwhelming.
Maybe we'll reach out to Major Garrett and see if he can moderate this and explain to us, hey, is this okay? Is this what we're doing? I
feel like I'm well within my rights to not just, I'm not a king. I'm not going to come on here and say, I demand that this happens. Thomas, I really like that idea. I like that idea a lot. Paulie, what do you have coming up for us in the Reindl report, my friend?
Reindl report. We got some NBA news to discuss. Big win last night for Ben's beloved Lakers. I want to talk about the NHL draft. There was the they announced the order of the draft that's coming up at the end of
Heard there was
June.
Heard there was a bit of a boner by ESPN.
A little bit.
Yeah, they made a mistake. Boner also means mistake.
Renob.
Yeah, just I mean, you could say it like that. Like there was a boner that they did. So yeah, there was a little bit of a early celebration, a little bit of a early peak at the NHL draft.
And this was a big deal because whoever gets the number 1 pick, there's a player
Connor
in the
McDavid.
draft, Connor Bedard.
Who's Connor McDavid?
McDavid.
I don't know. Carter McDonald. Who is Carter McDavid? Is that a person? Carter Bedard. Connor
Bedard. I mean, he's
I've
the
lost
next.
it.
He's the next Wayne Gretzky.
I felt bad, dude, when we had Matt Savon in from the goals, and he was like, "All right, man, like we had a really bad season. You know, if we could win the
if there was any silver
lining, it's to get Connor Bedard McDavid."
Say all about Carter McDavid.
You're never gonna call him by the right name again. I don't know why I just said that. All right, buddy.
Thanks a lot. And man, got some Hollywood news that just absolutely blew my mind this morning.
Can't wait.
From one of the greatest actors of all time.
Coming up next on Ben and Woods. Today's a big day for the release of the first episode of Matt Scraby's new podcast, 12 Games in October. Podcast recaps the 2022 Padres playoff run with each episode covering one of the playoff games starting today, right?
It is out now.
It's out now. You'll be able to download episode 1, focuses on how the Padres actually got into the playoffs and a deeper look into some improbable home runs in game 1 of the wild card series against the Mets. Hear play-by-play from the game, some analysis from Tony Gwynn Jr., search 12 Games in October in the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast. Here's a little taste of what you can expect from 12 Games in October.
The probability that Josh Bell would change the outcome of this game was, quite frankly, slim. This wasn't the regular season, though. Unexplainable occurrences happen in the postseason. Any player can become a legend overnight. Postseason baseball is unpredictable, unexplainable, and maddening. What happened next? Had all three.
Runner on first, 2 outs, no score, just underway. Game 1. And the 3-1 pitch hit in the air to deep left center field. Canna and Nimmo both going back. They are looking up. It's going to go! A 2-run homer for Josh Bell. Second of his career against Max Scherzer, and the Padres pounce.
A heck of an introduction to your first playoff at bat.
You could say Josh Bell hitting a home run for the first time in 22 games was unpredictable. You could say that Josh Bell hitting a home run off of Max Scherzer in his first career postseason at-bat was unexplainable. And if you're a Mets fan, Josh Bell hitting his first home run in the last 22 games off of Max Scherzer in his first ever postseason at-bat was maddening.
All right, you can download that, of course, after you listen to our show. Don't do it now.
Yeah.
Right.
You can download it now.
Download it now if you're so inclined.
Have it
listen to it
saved
later
and ready to go.
Let's do it after the Padres game, after Sammy Levitt's post game.
Yeah.
And then you're free.
Boom.
And then you're good.
Early game, 4:40.
4:40.
So you got plenty of time afterwards.
That's exactly right. All right, let's get to a little bit of the Reindl report.
After traffic.
After traffic.
Of course.
Of course.
Premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family. Here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the San Diego County Sheriff's Department. Just a couple problems here. Got a stalled car blocking the right lane southbound 163 at the University exit. Also, northbound side of the 15 at Via Rancho Parkway off-ramp, stalled vehicle in the center divide. The San Diego County Sheriff's Department is working hard to keep San Diego safe and is now hiring. The Sheriff's Department offers rewarding careers with growth and has an opportunity for anyone with integrity that wants to make a difference. Go to joinsdsheriff.net to learn more. That's joinsdsheriff.net. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right. Well, R.I.P. to Ben Higgins, who's homesick with the sniffles.
Oh, how mad is he right now?
Oh, he's livid.
My theory is that because he texted us that he had to leave Channel 10 early.
He had to go home and watch the Lakers.
So that's what I thought. I thought maybe he went home and he poured himself a stiff drink and sucked it down, and he was watching the game. And by all accounts, it was a very good game. It was a very close game.
Yep.
And he poured himself another one. Then he poured himself another one. Then he poured himself 3 or 4 more, and he had 7.
And they won, and he was just on a bender.
Giant glasses of whiskey. And I think he was too hungover to come to work. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. He is he's a diehard Lakers fan. He gets he's grandfathered in,
Literally.
because he's the biggest San Diegan I know. And I don't mean that literally. I mean figuratively. Like, he loves San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
just bleed San Diego.
That's right. But he has an affinity for the Los Angeles Lakers because his grandfather was the team doctor, and he grew up. I can totally understand
He has
why.
in his possession Los Angeles Lakers championship rings.
So people always ask, like, oh, Woodsy, how do you let? I'm like, bro, he can do what he wants, number one. But number two, he's literally grandfathered in.
Yep.
His grandfather was the team doctor. He knows those guys. Magic Johnson came to the door on Christmas morning one time. Like, it's trippy. So He went home, watched his Lakers. He sucked down 24 wings and 7 glasses of whiskey, and he's not at work. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Lots to get to in the NBA. We'll do it all kind of rapid fire here. First, the story that we talked about yesterday, I believe it was in Don't Do This. Nikola Jokic shoving Suns owner at the end of game 3. And, or was that? Yeah, I don't know, game 3, game 4, whatever. Pushed him, and he was not suspended.
He flopped. And the owner came out and had a really nice statement about it.
Yeah, it was a bizarre scene.
It was such a bizarre
You don't see
scene.
that too often. He's not going to be suspended. He was fined. I think it was $25,000. That was off the court. On the court yesterday, the Heat took a commanding 3-1 lead in the Eastern Conference semifinals over the Knicks. They won 109-101. Jimmy Butler with 27 points for Miami. And then the nightcap, the Lakers take down the Warriors 104-101. Very close game, good game. I fell asleep in the middle of the third quarter, but it was close. And now, dude, the Lakers, they're in the driver's seat. They got a 3-1 lead over the Warriors, and it's just bizarre to me. I mean, the Lakers were battling for a playoff spot for most of the season.
He was so bummed like 3 months ago, and Lakers lost again. I'm like, you and Dave Roberts are upset, and I would always bust his balls. But now, I mean, they found a little of the fountain of youth. And again, if they go on and win it all, how do you say load management is bad for basketball? Right. How do you say it? You don't. You can't. It's that's what they were doing for
the issue
a lot
lies
of the season.
With the NBA.
That's it.
And the Lakers are just playing the hand that they've been dealt.
Playing the game, buddy.
And they're playing it the right way. They're one win away from a trip to the Western Conference Finals. They'll play either the Suns or the Nuggets. That series tied at 2 apiece. And they tip off tonight at 7 o'clock on TNT. Sixers and Celtics also knotted at 2 games apiece in the Eastern Conference semifinals. So a couple of good games tonight. If you want to watch any of that after the Padres game, there you go.
All right.
And we talked about this a little bit as the tease. The NHL draft lottery was last night. The draft isn't until June, sometime next month. But the Chicago Blackhawks won the NHL draft and basically won the rights to Connor Bedard, not
Connor
Carter
McDavid. Connor McDavid is what I said. And I did watch 20 minutes of the Edmonton Oilers and Las Vegas Golden Knights game last night. And that's where I got Connor McDavid from. Connor Bedard is going to be a Chicago Blackhawk. Now, ESPN was covering it, and one of the guys, Kevin Weeks, announced mistakenly.
Oh, I got this right.
Oh,
here.
you got it?
Yeah.
This is great.
A little snafu. They have the board.
Yeah, they got the board
showing all the teams, and they haven't announced the third place team yet. Oh, 1 second here. Cue that up. There we go.
It was premature.
8.
Was the dramatic music.
That is very dramatic.
And there is our first change in the order, with Columbus dropping to 3rd. So now either Anaheim or Chicago will select first overall.
The board never.
The board didn't
that.
show that, and he jumped the gun a little bit. So then immediately they knew it was going to be the Ducks or the Blackhawks, and the Blackhawks ended up winning it. Man, holy cow! So they're going to draft Connor Bedard, who by all accounts is the savior of
the next Michael Jordan,
the next big thing.
Yep,
which will be you know. I'll look forward to seeing that play
it's like
out.
Winning the draft lottery, knowing LeBron is entering the draft.
Right.
Like you got your guy.
You got your guy. And there's no second guessing about it.
Yep. And that's your hockey update.
Beautiful.
We'll wrap things up here. Little Hollywood news. This just came out this morning. Headline on People Magazine says Robert De Niro reveals he just had a baby. At age 79, he is now a dad of 7. 79 years old, just welcomed a new baby to the family. It says here the Academy Award winner has 6 children from previous relationships. De Niro and his first wife are parents to daughter Drina and son Raphael. Drina's 51 years old.
She's got a little baby brother or sister.
Yeah.
Brand new. That's I sympathize. He's a very wealthy man. So your immediate reaction is, oh, well, I mean, he's not gonna have to do much, right? He's wealthy and the people that take care of it, but I don't know what kind of dad he is. I'm a very hands-on dad, always have been.
He was doing an interview and the interviewer asked him about his 6 children and he cut them off and said 7 actually.
I have 7
I just had a baby. No further details he gave out though. Baby number 7.
No, feels real
79 years old.
I mean, this is a little bit dark or deep, but
I think I know where you're going with this. I thought the same thing. You want to be there for
yes,
kids.
like it. In fact, I mean, get too personal, but like I'm starting a new therapist tomorrow, and when I spoke to her for my intro call, she said, "You know, what are you anxious about? What are you concerned about?" And I said, "Being old enough, like making it." You know, I mean, it's so dark, but like Tony Gwynn today turned 63 years old, would have been his 63rd birthday. And Tony Gwynn Jr., our colleague and friend, you know, lost his dad many, many years ago. It's hard. And I think about that. I think about that all the time. It weighs on me like a load on my back. Like I'm just constantly thinking about my kids need me. They need me. My 5-year-old needs me around. So it's one of those things that literally keeps me up at night. And one of the things I'm going into therapy for.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. The newest De Niro child, number 7.
What do you get? 2 years, 3 years? Like
he ain't gonna be there for high school graduation,
bro. He ain't
gonna be there for Little League.
There's almost no chance, and that sucks. But like, there's a certain joy that you get when your child is born, but the joy that you have every single day after that is really the massively special part, and every day is like a new milestone. So trust me, it's one of the things that is. It's messy. It messes with my mind every single day. I know a lot of dads and moms out there feel the same way. You want to be around, you want to be around. You want to take care of yourself a little bit better. And my thing is like, why do I self-sabotage if I know that I want to do that? So these are all things. It is actually mental health awareness month too. And interestingly enough, this all really ties together. Cristo Fernandez, who plays Danny Rojas from Ted Lasso, is going to be joining us in about 10 minutes. That's a show that has done a really good job at opening it up a little bit for the macho man to be able to talk about their feelings. You know, Ted Lasso is
something that's very near and dear to Jason Sudeikis' heart, the
correct.
actor, the human.
Yeah.
And he has portrayed that through his character of Ted Lasso.
Yeah. He took him a while, He was swallowing a lot of stuff. And I think a lot of men do. And I think that they think that they're weak. And listen, I don't consider myself weak. I think it makes you strong if you can make that phone call and say, no, things aren't great. They should be, but they aren't. And that's why, I'm starting a new chapter tomorrow, and I'm excited about it. I am, because, I just want to be the best friend, husband, dad, co-host, partner, whatever I can be. And I'm not right now. I'm not, and I'm okay admitting that. So
good for you. I've been going to the same therapist for 6-7 years now, and before that, I had really no experience with therapy. In fact, I had the negative stigma of therapy. Like you only go to therapy if something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
There really was. I mean, there actually was a lot wrong with me that I didn't even know about until I started working on myself. And I just thought, no, like nothing traumatic has really happened. Like I don't need to do this. And I started seeing really older men in my life that I respect start talking about therapy and how it was the best decision they ever made was going to therapy. I was like, I'll give it a shot.
Yep.
Got really lucky by finding somebody that I connected with right away. Didn't have to, try 5, 6, 7, 8 different therapists, but find one that works for you, man. It's so worth it. The crap that you have underneath you that you don't even know about.
Deep.
It's deep and it hurts, but it's so worth it in the long run.
That's my number one. What Bob De Niro, maybe he feels it, maybe he doesn't. I mean, he's done the whole gamut. He's got a 51-year-old as his oldest, but that for me is a really fresh, open sore, really. And I think about it all the time. And so, yeah, I mean, anybody that is listening to the show, I actually get chided for talking about my kids too much. So that's how, but I will never stop. That's how I feel. And it's important to me that I am around for a long, long time. I won't don't worry. I'm not going to be doing this forever. Okay. I won't be here. I'm not going to be, trying to stay on the radio when I'm 70 years old. I know when my time is is going to come and pass me by. And I'm going to do it as hard as I can until that day comes. But, there's just other things that you got to worry about. Thank you, Paulie, for the Rhino Report. Very excited about Cristo Fernandez. He's got an interesting background. He plays Danny Rojas, as I mentioned, from Ted Lasso. And I'm a Ted Lasso fan. I'll be honest, I did not think I would be. There was nothing about Ted Lasso that appealed to me when it started other than Jason Sudeikis, who I really, really enjoy. And then the pandemic hit, and I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And it I'm not being dramatic here, but it helped put me on a better way to deal with everything.
Well, the show itself couldn't have come at a better time.
It was the perfect time.
Some of the darkest times of our life.
Yep.
I mean, I think it was July of 2020 is when that show debuted. And it was just such a breath of fresh air that we all needed. And it became an absolute staple for me.
Oh, 100%. And I've watched season 1 like 4 times.
Oh, yeah.
And when I would find myself in a rut, I would just go watch it. And is it campy sometimes? Sure. Is it corny sometimes? Absolutely. Again, we've talked about it in our 635 segment. We were talking about soccer and the MLS coming to town. I am as ignorant on soccer and European soccer as anybody on this planet. That being said, I watched every second of it. I enjoyed it 4 times. And then Danny Rojas came along, midway through season 1?
Yeah.
Midway through season 1.
6 episodes in, maybe.
And it was, I don't want to say it was a breath of fresh air because the air was not stale at all. It was just a new character that really, really connected with a lot of people. Football is life. I'm going to ask him, do you get tired of people shouting football is life at you everywhere you go? Because it's a catchphrase.
Football is life.
Football is life. You hear it all the time. So I'm really excited to talk to him in the 9 o'clock hour too. After we talk to Cristo, we'll take some calls. We'll spin the topic wheel. I think our buddy John Flint from John and Tammy is going to come down the hall. And John grew up in the Minnesota area and grew up a Twins fan and was a big Kirby Puckett guy, Dan Gladden, Kent Herbeck. Saw a World Series with them. Did they win 2 back then? I think we've done this before.
They did.
I think they won 2. So he had a chance to see that. Now he's been in San Diego. I think he moved here 2 weeks after me. And like the exact same thing that happened to me, he's like, I like the Padres now. And this is where I want to be. So I wonder if he gets pounded for being a bandwagon fan as well. We'll ask him. We'll ask him who he's rooting for in this series. We'll talk about some Minnesota Twins, San Diego Padres. That game, of course, tonight, 4:40. You can listen to it here on 97.3 The Fan. And can't wait to listen and watch that game tonight. Michael Wacha is on the bump. He's been pitching much, much better. Like it comes down to what we say all the time. We score 3 runs, Paulie, we feel like we're going to win that game. Our record when we score 3 or more runs is
speak for themselves.
Staggering. Like, just go out there and get it done. Get this good road trip going. That flight up there must have been pretty miserable after those 2 Dodger games that you felt like you had a better than good chance to win. So Johnny will join us at 9:35. Talk a little Twins Padres. If you guys want to weigh in on anything as well, you can. But yes, sir, coming up next, very, very excited about this interview with Cristo Fernandez, one of the rare people in life that that has gotten to do 2 things he loved to do for his whole life.
Yeah.
He started as a soccer player. He was a football player, and he had a horrific injury that forced him to explore the other passion in his life, and that was acting. And then he gets on Ted Lasso and has taken the world, by storm, like the show has done.
Awesome.
It's pretty incredible. So it's a rare breed when you find somebody that's done everything they wanted to do in life, and he does a lot for the community. He does a lot for. He's got a production company. There's a lot of stuff I want to talk to him about, but that show has captivated this country. And continues to do so. So we'll talk to him next here on Ben and Woods. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Very, very special day here on the program. Paulie's been working on this for quite a while. Do we need to check traffic first?
No, we are all good.
Oh, we're all good to go then. Well, let's bring him on, the premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Fan Hotline. I mean, one of the best characters on television. There he is, Cristo Fernandez, a.k.a. Danny Rojas. Welcome to the program, my friend.
Hello. Hello, Ben and Woods, and all the fans out there listening. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
It's such a pleasure to have you. We were just talking about the show and what it meant to all of us. And I said, when we first met Danny Rojas, I said it wasn't even a breath of fresh air because the show was not stale at all. It didn't need a breath of fresh air, but that's kind of how it felt when you ran onto the field the first time. For you as an actor to come into a season like that, describe that experience for you to join that show.
Well, I mean, it was, the fact it was my first day on the show as well. So it was my first working day. So I had all the nerves and all the excitement with me. So I think that helped Danny to spread all the energy out there and run like crazy.
Yeah, it didn't look like you were acting. It looked like that was genuine emotion running onto the field for the first time.
Well, I mean, the first line Danny has is "Thank you very much for the opportunity," but I can tell you that was me.
So I was just telling our audience too, reading a little bit about your life. You're one of the rare people in life that has gotten to pursue at the highest levels, really, your great loves. You grew up playing football and you had a pretty bad injury. Was it the injury to your knee?
Yeah, so I mean, I played professional soccer football since I was 15 years old. Played my whole life as a child, and then I broke the knee. It was more like the meniscus and a little bit of the big bone we have in the knee. I don't know how you call it in English, but I mean, I recovered from it, but it just turned out that I was on my way to the first team. Things were going right, and it just stopped me in a very specific moment in my career. And it was a combination, both the injury, but also me discovering new passion and new things, and having played my whole life and suddenly finding something new that I was really passionate was something that took me by surprise, and I appreciate it, and I'm grateful with my family and my parents that pushed me to study something.
Yeah, because
it was with communication with my studies, and that I found audiovisual classes and writing, and no one wanted to act in the videos, and I was the one acting, and I was like, this is cool. And then everyone was like, yeah, you can do it, you're good. And then I was okay. And then they told me, hey, can you help me with my other videos from classes above and below? And I was, yeah, of course. And then I became famous in my university for being the one that acted for free in the videos. And I was just doing lots of videos, and then I joined the theater company in the school. And then outside of school, I started to do like little student films, but professional ones, commercials, short films. And that's how I got into it. And then I saved money, went to study my master in acting in the UK. And years later, here we are.
It's so funny. It's so funny too, because obviously an injury like that can mess with your mental health. That can mess obviously with your physical health, and not getting to play professional football, but not continuing to do that for a living. But then so rare for somebody to find another passion that they're so interested in. You talk about your parents pushing you. I'm the father of two young boys, and they were really, apparently you did not like school very much. You just, when you say football is life, that's all you wanted to do was play football. How did they break through finally and say, all right, Cristo, you got to focus on something else at this point?
No, I mean, it wasn't like they forced me or pushed me. You can imagine my parents' face when I said, all right, guys, I'm not going to be a soccer football player anymore. And they were like, oh, thank God. But I'm going to be an actor. Oh my
no.
What the hell is wrong with this man? But it's just my parents have always seen how dedicated I've been like I did high school at nights because I was playing soccer training twice per day, and they've always seen me as someone that is dedicated to what I want to do, and I think that's the reason why they were like, yeah, whatever you want to do, we'll. Because my parents are not in arts or sports or anything. But regardless, they've always seen, I think, in me that I just don't sit around and wait. I really push for things to happen, and I mean, yeah, in terms of somehow, I think my life felt a little bit like, that storyline that Roy Kent has.
Yeah.
He thinks football, soccer is his whole life.
His whole identity.
So I can tell you that personally, I went through existential crisis when I was like realizing things were not going the way I wanted. But and that's probably a topic to talk about, because there are many. We always hear the story of the ones that made it, but at least in America, for example, I think you guys are doing it the right way, where you combine education with sports. But in the rest of Latin America and in the world, and even in the UK, like there's not a combination between both, and I think it's very hard because not everyone will achieve the dream of being an athlete. And also, for me, I learned from my mistakes, and I realized that there were opportunities and things that I didn't push because I was comfortable in my zone. I didn't want to get out of my comfort zone. So that's why when I had this dream of being an actor, and I could have stayed or go to Mexico City or to America, which was closer, but everyone asked me, why did you go to the UK? Because to me, it was like, I need to get out of here and go where I admire the culture, the arts, and the weather is crazy and horrible, and the English is hard to understand, and I have no one, I don't know anybody. And that was, for me, I had no other option but to give my best, and I think somehow that pay off on the long run.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I reflect, and I've been always a crazy one that I always spoke to myself and have, when you walk in LA, you see sometimes people talking to themselves and like crazy people. I always go like, that's an actor.
Yeah, they could act. We're talking to Cristo Fernandez, plays Danny Rojas on Ted Lasso, and I know we don't have an inordinate amount of time here, but I did want to ask you. I mean, the show connects with so many people. It connected with us. It came out during the pandemic, and it was, for me, I always describe it as a nice warm blanket. Where does that come from? Because I'm a big Jason Sudeikis fan, and I got to imagine you are as well. Does he really set the tone for Ted Lasso, and what is he like? Just to be around on a daily basis. No one can be as positive as the actual Ted Lasso. How close does he get?
I think the reason why the show works, not only because it's incredibly well written and it's all on them. It's the writers are geniuses. They make the work easier. They know what works best, and they are amazing. But in terms of, I also think something they did right is that each one of the characters is very close to who we are as persons and as people. And I think you see of each actor lots of who that character is. And I mean, Jason is a great leader. I would say Jason he's not only the main guy, the main actor, but he's also the showrunner. He's also the main creator. He's the one that brings the energy. He knows what can work. He has all the experience from SNL, and together with Brendan, Joe, and Bill and the writers, they make an amazing job. And I say that because he's always thinking of the details, and he's thinking about my character on set. He's thinking about his character. He's thinking about why that sofa is there and in the other scene was not there. And he's always just thinking about so many things. And I've learned so much. And I think the collaborative process of collaboration, I think I appreciate the most, because from what I've learned working with him is that there are not bad ideas. There are always ideas that work in that moment, or sometimes don't work, but there's always space to try them. And there's been some lines, even like in this season, like where Danny tells Trent, well, I mean, it's already the episode out, but when Danny says the word "fuck off," and that was improv. In the script, it said "boo," so I was supposed to tell Trent, "boo," but I was like, Danny has been with Roy Kent so much, he can say "fuck off."
All right, I get it.
And I was like, okay, I learned it. Sorry if I cannot say the word.
That's okay. No, I mean it's
all good.
It's
now.
all good now. We took
the F word.
We took care of it. We took care of it, Chris.
But no, my point is that I think that being my biggest lesson. It's a collaboration process, and you cannot always think that it's just you. It's a teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, and I think he truly embraces that. And yeah, I've learned so much from Jason and from everyone on set.
Yeah, it's a really, really good show, man. I know you got to go. I could have talked to you all day. I really, really appreciate the time. Cristo Fernandez, aka Danny Rojas. Could you give us the catchphrase, please?
Of course, amigo. Football is life.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, my friend.
Cristo.
I really, really appreciate that, man. That was Cristo Fernandez. Wasn't Paulie? Wasn't expecting the double F bomb. I'm pouring sweat. You could probably see it glistening. But that's what you get. You get the real and the wrong. The guy's an actor.
Love that. That was great.
So he improv'd that line. My problem is they would be like, you can't keep improving the F word, because it's one of my favorite words. That was incredible.
Is Adam lurking already?
Yeah, I don't see him yet. I don't hear the FCC banging down our door, but I'm so mad that Ben's not here because I wanted to see the uncomfortable look on his face.
Oh my God.
When that happened. Don't know that we've ever had the double F bomb.
I think that was the first. So.
Danny Rojas, everybody.
The GOAT.
We'll be right back. It's Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
We having fun yet?
My pits are sweaty, Paulie, and I usually am not a big sweater, but I am sweating. Listen, I can't control what comes out of a guest's mouth. That's our beloved Cristo Fernandez, Danny Rojas from Ted Lasso. Great interview.
Can't control what comes out of their mouth twice.
I loved his insight. I do.
It was really good.
It's really good. He is a great character, and it's a great show. And wow, that was unexpected to say the least. Oh man,
I'm gonna go throw up.
I hope we got them both. I mean, there's really nothing we can do. The way that it works is there's a dump button, and it's an 8-second dump, I believe. So you say a bad word and you hit it, and then it's got to repopulate though.
Build
back up to do it. So
and then you can hit it again.
So if somebody wanted to really get you, they just
Yeah,
you just got to pull the plug.
No, it'd be like F.
Yeah, which is exactly what you said.
Completely screwed, and so kind of happens.
I hope we're here tomorrow. Again, I can't control what a guest says. I don't know that. I feel like he probably does a lot of like podcasts and stuff too. So on a podcast, you can say that anytime you choose, right?
Yeah.
So I wish our show was not 40 more minutes, because I'm see engineers out there lurking. There's probably going to be somebody here to put us in cuffs.
Yeah.
You get cuffed and dragged away to FCC jail if you let one slip. I've done it. I said it. I've done it one time in almost 13 plus years. I did it one time, and we were so loose and casual one day, just talking about the Padres. Just loose. It was like being at a bar with your buddies, and I was like, "Yeah, man." And
I wasn't here that day.
Were you not?
I wasn't here.
Oh, dude! And I just let it. I go, "Yeah," and like effing, and I go, "Whoa!" I knew exactly when I did it. You'd be surprised to know that's the only time I've ever even been close, and that's Ben says part of the reason he doesn't even curse at all is that it would be hard to turn off and on. It's really not. It's not at all. I mean, I know what I can and can't say when I'm on the radio. And like I said, I've only slipped up once in 13 years. That's pretty good. Now I say words that Adam doesn't care for, but they're not the ones that would get you in trouble. So I hope everything's okay. I hope we got it. And I know it went across the stream.
So do I.
Yeah. I know it went across the stream.
It can go out on YouTube. There's no
issue.
You could start a live stream on YouTube and just F this, F that, F you.
Ish Boo Fizzle said, "Y'all are good. Didn't hear anything on the radio."
You just made my day.
Made our day. Could be lying to us also, but
either way, I'm gonna roll with that.
Yeah, we'll roll with that. So been a fun show today. Ben is out. He's sick. I hope he's better tomorrow. He's got the sneezes. Hope he's doing well. And hopefully taking the day off and getting a little rest. If there's one thing that kid needs, it's rest. He doesn't rest nearly enough.
Can you imagine if he was here?
I can't.
The double F bomb
just
all around San Diego went down.
And Cristo had a difficult cadence too. I thought that he was done answering, so I wrecking balled him a couple of times. And those, it makes it challenging to do. So I can't even imagine the wrecking ball of Ben and Danny Rojas. Can you imagine, Paulie? Ben and Danny Rojas,
oh my God,
the wrecking ball that would have gone down?
JR says in the YouTube chat, a great irony that having a Ted Lasso interview is the thing that gets Ben and Woods in trouble.
No kidding, right? Like the most positive,
the safest, most positive
show. The most positive show around. Yeah. So that's perfect. Everyone's like, hey, F-bombs are great. And I said, I mean, no one likes the F-bomb more than I do. No one says it more than me a day. Nobody.
One of my favorite words.
It's literally one of my favorite words, and it can be used for so many different things. And but yeah, he was great, man. I loved his attitude.
I don't want that to take away anything from his message.
Please, his message was great. The fact that he played professional football and then got a gnarly injury.
I thought it was so fascinating how he talked about, like, here in America, of course,
dude,
you can play high school sports, you can get a college education and play sports. Like, That's not the case necessarily around the world. Like you have to make decisions at 14. In his case, he was 15 years old playing professional soccer. And of course, that's awesome. That can be your dream come true, but you're also making huge sacrifices. You're still a minor. And so I that really stood out to me.
And you know, we always bring it back to baseball here. There's academies in Latin American countries that, you know, these guys are in there working 13, 14, 15 years old. They're hoping to get signed and play their way out of that community into Major League Baseball, or, you know, other countries that have professional baseball. And that's the point he was making is, you know, that's like actually the one time I've heard somebody praise, well, you guys actually do it the right way. You encourage them to study and play athletics. Whereas in some other countries, and he mentioned them, those guys are in academies when they're 12, 13 years old, you know, learning how to play professional football for a career. And like he says, you always hear about the ones that make it. You rarely hear about the ones that don't, you know? And of course we talk a lot to minor leaguers and about how it's so hard to get into the big leagues. And there's only been 21,000 big leaguers in the history of baseball.
We talked a lot about Drew Maggi with the Pirates, and
1,300 games, or
11 years in the minor leagues,
1,300
something
games.
like that. I mean, yeah, those are great stories to talk about
They're rare as
when
hell.
he gets to the big leagues. But how many guys out there that you don't know about that played, you know, professional baseball, but at the minor league level for 10 plus years and never even sniff the major league?
Not even a sniff. So let's spin the topic wheel, Paulie, and then we'll bring in our pal John Flint. Going to talk a little Twins Padres.
I don't know if we've done this one, but if you could swap lives with anyone, who would it be?
Oh, wow.
You get their life.
That's such a loaded question because, you know, immediately it pops into my head a baseball player, right? Like name Manny or Tatis, but like, I don't know. I love my life. I have a really good life. I really do. I really because if I swap lives, that means I lose my kids and my family. Like, so I'm in Manny's.
Take that attachment.
Take that away.
Take that attachment out of it.
Big leaguer. Yeah. Fernando Tatis Jr.
Pretty cool.
Maybe not that big.
That's too big?
Too big. He's too big. Like not quite a Brett Sullivan, but like more. I don't know. What about you?
I mean,
maybe I would do a golfer.
Yeah.
Golf would be pretty sick.
I mean, like I don't know how much money like professional surfers make, but like you get to just like live and venture to the most beautiful tropical places in the world.
Just surf everywhere you go. Not everywhere. They surf cold stuff too.
Sure.
But
in general.
I don't know.
It's tough. I mean, I think the easy
question.
answer is like, oh, LeBron James. Like you get that athleticism, the money, the lifestyle, and everything.
And I think being a musician would get boring after a while. I like going to do the same set list or even a variation of the same set list. Hell yeah, fun for the first 2 weeks.
Right.
And then after that, you're like, oh my God, here we are.
Weighs you down.
Yeah, we're in St. Louis and I got to play, these hit songs. Again, I think it would bother me. You know me, I like to switch it up on the show every day. I can't imagine going and playing the same set list every night. So I don't even know if a musician's like, plus you get on a bus, you travel, even if you're flying, it's still a beating. I don't know. Maybe
I've always said
a very wealthy golf pro, like at a country club.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was Pat who lives here in Diego.
Yeah,
he is it's a little bit different now with the Live.
He makes ton of money.
But even before Live was even a thing, I've always kind of like that's the guy you want to be. Good enough to keep pro tour card.
Oh yeah.
And you don't
live a really solid life.
You don't win Masters.
Right.
You're never in contention every year for these huge tournaments, but you win enough, you qualify enough to just keep your card membership. And I mean, he's the guy that's got again, before Live, who knows how much money he had in the
Yeah.
bank, and yet he could walk into Vaughn's and not a single person wouldn't recognize him or
That's
know.
so-
that's not bad. That's the way to go.
It's so true.
Tiger Woods can't go to a grocery store.
he
Pat
can't.
Perez can.
He can't at all. It's exactly right. You don't want to be too big. You want to have some anonymity. Being an actor would be pretty cool, just like a normal actor. Like my pal David Wallace from The Office, the guy Andy Buckley, who I met in London on my honeymoon. Having that kind of life would be pretty good. But I'm pretty happy with where I am right now, to be honest with you. All right, we'll be right back. We'll talk a little Padres Twins. We'll take your calls too if you want to chat about anything you've heard today, or talk a little baseball. How we feeling? All that. Everyone excited? You know, you turn the page on the Dodger series. You start with the Twins tonight. Go out and win a ball game, right? So call us 833-288-0973. Our pal John Flint coming in. He's a diehard Minnesota Twins fan from back in the day, but he's even been converted. So we'll talk about bandwagon fans like me and John next on 97.3 The Fan. All right, welcome back. Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. Last segment of the day. We'll be talking to our pal John Flint from KSON. Grew up Twins fan. He's now conflicted. It happens. It's happened to a lot of people. We'll do that. We'll come back. We'll talk a little Twins Padres right after this quick check of traffic.
From the Premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danek.
Got a few things wrapping up our morning drive. Southbound 5 coastline before La Costa, some metal debris in the fast lane. Further down on the Santa Fe off-ramp, collision in the clearing stage. Everything's over the right shoulder. Also, westbound King Freeway just past 30th Street. There is a collision involving a couple vehicles. That's over the right shoulder. And an accident on the Friars Road on-ramp to northbound 15. I'm Kelly Danek with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, and joining us now in studio from down the hall. Your show is finished for the day, but you can't let the sports Jones go. You do country. Your KSON's a country station.
Thank you,
but you don't talk a lot of sports.
I don't. So this is my Jones, and I tell you every day to the point of being obnoxious about it. I'm a tier 1 when I'm not doing my own thing,
which I love very much, very much. I really appreciate. I've known John for a long, long time. I think John.
We've been through a lot together.
We have been through a lot of general managers, a lot of managers, a lot of drama, divorce. I mean, I didn't want to talk about it, but yeah, we've been there for each other. We've known each other a long, long time, man. One of my dearest friends.
Thank you, baby.
And Johnny grew up a Minnesota Twins fan, so you got to see kind of the zenith of the Twins back in the day.
You don't even know half of it, man. So I grew up as I played high school ball for a while, played Legion ball, and when I was just about getting really good, I thought, till I discovered the curveball, and then that was my career over. But for a brief cup of coffee in September call-ups, my coach was a bullpen pitcher for the Twins.
Oh, sick.
So he took all of us kids, 8th, 9th graders, to the clubhouse. We got to see all these guys, man. Puckett, Herbeck, Gaetti, Brunansky, Gagne, Viola, all starting off together, man.
So
and
cool.
they had like 100-loss teams every year, but then they weren't. Then they got Danny Gladden in 87 and everything changed. And we won the World Series in 87 when I was a freshman in college.
Amazing.
And we won the World Series in 91 with all those same guys, save a couple, that I met when I was a boy in my senior year of college. Imagine being in college, your freshman and senior years. Arguably your most important years.
Yes.
And both years, your favorite team wins the World Series. Do we party a little bit?
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay.
No doubt.
And by the way, it'll never happen again. Not on a market that size. Never.
No, I mean, it could. I mean, it's hard.
Two of them that close together?
Nah, that close together is tough. I mean, everyone kind of thought the Astros were going to roll this year, and they're scuffling. It happens. It's hard to do. Repeat. Winning one is obviously extremely, extremely hard to do, and you got to get lucky to do it.
So fast forward, I moved around a bit when I was a kid. I was born in Chicago, lived in Western New York, and then Minneapolis, St. Paul, till I high school, college, got married, got a job in Wisconsin, lived in Wisconsin for a decade or so, and then I've been here. I've done the math, and the reason for the timeline is I figured out I've lived in San Diego now longer than anything where else in my life.
Me too.
So it brings me to my dilemma. I love this Padres team
so much,
and I was there 6 years ago when there were 10 of us in the stands on a Wednesday afternoon game, and I was there with my daughter at every home playoff game last year, dancing in the rain, the blink, hugging strangers, chills. Talk. We all know what went down, and I'm invested in this team.
Of course, every night.
My
whole family. It's the same thing.
I mean, I'm not as deep as you guys are as far as knowing some players, but I just interviewed Hoffman for the first time ever about a half hour ago, and I'm bouncing off the wall, man. So I'm a huge fan now. I'm going back to Minnesota.
Yeah, this week.
To see my daughter Julia graduate from college from the University of Minnesota. I can't believe I'm saying that sentence. I'm going to take my mom and my nephew and my daughters to the Padres Twins game, which is a treat. I've never seen the Padres on the road, so I'm stoked about that. But all my boys, as I'm sure you had when you were still a big Yankees fan, all my boys, like my cousins, what are you doing? What a traitor you are.
I know, dude. I know.
And I just, I don't get me wrong. I hope that it's 11-10 every game and everyone's great. Maybe throwing a pitcher's duel in there. But I want the Padres to win this series.
I know.
We have to win. It's more important to us than it is to the Twins. I'm sorry. I know the Twins are in first, but realistically, they're not there yet. They're a couple players away.
The fact that they've won a couple, I get asked that question a lot. And it's funny. I've told the story of why I was a Yankee fan. I didn't really have a choice. My dad I met when I was 10, and he was like, I'm a Yankee fan. I'm like, cool. I would have followed him anywhere, and everything he loved, I loved. So, and that was our special bond. And when I was the young kid, punk kid, smoking cigarettes, sneaking out, the one thing we always had was baseball too. Like, that's like, all right, you're pissed at me, I'm pissed at you, but let's watch the game together. So we always had that together. Then I had kids of my own. And as soon as my kids were born, living in this market, living where I was, when they signed Manny, my son was 4 months old. We were on the radio at another station and coming together as a show, and the team was starting their upward trajectory. But I've told this before, and choose to believe it or don't, had I gotten the radio job in Cincinnati, I'd probably be a huge Reds fan now, because the minute I got here, I watched every single game. I was there, and we're only talking 13 years, but it was pretty lean back then, and I loved being involved with the team even before I was.
There are people, and I'm starting to agree, and I know that you're already on board, that say, okay, you live here now, you've made a living here now, you've made a name for yourself here now, this is your home now.
No doubt.
And this is your team. It's also very helpful that this is such a fun time.
Oh, no question. That makes it much easier.
I mean, last year, watching us beat the Dodgers with my daughter, guys, I mean, I don't have to tell you, one of the best days I'll ever have in my life.
No question.
And we'll never forget that. I'll probably forget it a couple of years because I'm getting up there in age, but my daughter will continue to remind me. And she's my ride or die to the games to this day, man. I've got, I've got 9 under my belt. I'm 4-5 so far this year at Petco. Oh, so close to being the opposite until Sunday, but that's okay.
Yeah, my wife is actually going to New York with her mom to see. I have not been to the new Yankee Stadium. She will have gone there.
Little League Park. They hit a home run out of
before me. And people have asked me, all right, Yankees, Padres, and World Series. I'm like, it's such a no-brainer. I loathe 99% of the players on that team. Aaron Judge is really the only guy I like. And Anthony Rizzo's pretty cool too. Other than that, I'm like, bro, that's not my team. That's not the team I grew up watching. It's not the team. This team is fun. This team is exciting.
So you don't follow them at all?
At all. I never watch them ever.
Crazy.
And I mean, if they're on, if it's like on Sunday Night Baseball, I'll watch. But I have no connection anymore.
So I have been trying my hardest to catch, because the Twins usually start 2 hours, almost always, because the time change, unless they're playing on the East Coast, 2 or 3 hours before we do, for the Padres do. So I try to fit in both.
Yeah.
But best believe, when it's 6:40 and the Twins are still playing,
I'm out.
I'm watching the Pods. I'm listening to the Pods. I'm 100%.
A fan. It's so fun, man. It's just such a fun city to be a part of, and the atmosphere with the team is so great. So now, you're gonna be there in the house. That I don't know that would change it much for me, because like I said, for me it was the team that I grew up with is not. I can't. It's not only that I'm like, I don't have any connection. I loathe. Like, I never liked Josh Donaldson. I couldn't stand him. I never liked Aaron Hicks. I never liked
two ex-Twins, by the way.
I love Aaron Judge. How can you not? You don't have to be a Yankee fan to love Aaron Judge.
How many millions did you turn down from us to go play in the Bronx?
A ton. So he's great. He's great for baseball. So, but other than that, man, it's like I connect to these guys here, man. These guys are my favorite baseball players to watch ever.
Well, and look at the opportunities that your talent has given you to make those relationships. You, Paulie and Ben, on the field, but in the super rocks. Am I allowed to say that you sat in that rock star seat once in a while? Or does that make you look like a douchebag?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I don't think you could say douchebag.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Very mad.
Adam's on his way.
Adam's on his way.
Sorry,
that was him, not me.
Well, it's the country guy here.
We
give
already
me a chance to get salty once in a while.
We already had the guy from Ted Lasso drop 2 F-bombs on our show this morning.
What guy from Ted Lasso did you have on?
The Danny Rojas.
Football's life.
Yeah, he dropped 2 F-bombs.
Does he not know? Well, who cares? You got a button for a reason.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
I love the fact that you talked Ted Lasso. Listen, I thank you for the time here. I know you guys got to wrap this up.
You're welcome.
But before I do, I just want to say a special thank you to Tony Gwynn Sr., whose birthday it is today. And real quickly, years ago, one of my first years here in San Diego, I've been here for 12, 13 years now. I got the opportunity to go to Mr. Gwynn's office and interview him. Did I tell a story on your show before?
I think so.
Well, either way, I'll make it very short then. He was sick. I didn't know it, but he was dying at the time. And I was warned that he was very grumpy. And I was even more nervous going in after that.
Wreck.
Guy said you got about, I'm going to say he's probably going to give you about 2, maybe 3 minutes. And I think that's fine. That's fine. Whatever. I'm just so honored,
whatever.
so honored to be here. But I'm so like, ugh, as I walk in and I just said, Mr. Gwynn, it's an honor to meet you. And I want to say, and this is a true story, that you are my second favorite baseball player. And he's like, oh, who's your first? And I said it, Kirby Puckett.
Right.
And he's like, Kirby's my best friend of baseball.
Yep.
In fact, he told me that at the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, there's the home run hitters, there's the pitchers, and then there's a table with Tony Gwynn and Kirby Puckett just hanging out.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to him tell me these stories.
That's pretty amazing.
And he gave me 90 minutes, guys.
90
90 minutes.
Didn't you know? Like,
wow.
Oh my.
He gave me 90 minutes. And then
I would have been a wreck.
Tell you what, man. I got him on tape. I didn't use this on my show because we only could use like 2 minutes.
Right, of course.
The segment was we were celebrating all things Poway, introducing ourselves as a new morning show.
New morning
in
show,
town.
Poway, yeah.
And we're doing a live shot from his favorite breakfast joint in Poway. We asked him to join us there. He said, I can't, but meet me at the office and I'll give you a minute or two. Anyway, where was I going with this? I totally lost my train of thought. I thought I did radio. Help me out.
Tony Gwynn,
Poway.
Poway. 90 minutes.
Okay, so yes. So I had him on tape saying, I was born a Padre and I'll die a Padre.
Oh, that's
and
so
that
cool.
horrible morning, because you were across the hall from me doing your morning show. We got the news, and I managed to find that interview and cut that thing down. So I got that finally on the air, and it was one of the saddest parts of my life, but definitely one of the highlights of my career. Unfortunate circumstance, but today's his birthday, and I was at the trophy induction, or the statue ceremony all those years ago in Poway, crying with Tony Gwynn Jr. And I'm just so happy to be a San Diegan.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to say it. Go Padres.
Go
That's
Padres.
Are
you going to wear your gear? You got to wear your gear, man. You have to.
Yes, I'm going to do that, because if I don't, I'm going to get torn apart on socials here.
Yeah.
Because best believe I'm posting a ton when I get to town.
You have to. So what game are you going to?
I'm going to Thursday's at matinee game.
Okay. So
taking my mom, my nephew, and my daughters.
So you'll get to see who's throwing Thursday.
Darvish, right?
Is it Darvish?
Oh,
yeah,
man.
you get to see you, Darvish.
Nice.
Yeah,
All right.
it's going to be really good. Johnny, thank you for the time, my brother. I appreciate it.
I love you guys.
Thank you for your
Tier
stories.
one
Love you
for
too.
life, baby.
Appreciate you, pal. Appreciate you, man. Go buy some merch and subscribe to our YouTube. Johnny was very hyped up this morning. Somebody said in the chat he loves his coffee. Why was he talking like, "Hey, what's up, man? It's me, John." That's not
Gotta be the cool guy.
Is he the cool guy? Cool sports guy?
Cool
All right.
sports
I love that guy, man. I've known Johnny forever.
He's a good egg.
Anybody calling in? You guys want to do a few calls to wrap up the show?
Tim's been on hold.
Timmy, good morning, Tim. How are you, buddy?
Morning, guys. How you doing
Man,
today?
hanging in,
Go
bro.
Pods.
Go Padres. Excited, man. Every day feels like a day to get on a hot streak.
Hey, when you were talking earlier, let me try and bring you some peace. You took me back to when I was a kid. I actually grew up in East St. Louis, Illinois, and wee hours of the morning around 2 a.m., my mom's screaming. I run downstairs. She's holding my dad's head on the kitchen floor.
No.
I watched my father pass when I was 11. But you know what I tell everybody? What he did with me up until that 11th year made me the person I am. So it's not so much that your boys may grow up without you, your children may grow up without you. It's what are you doing now to make sure they're okay when you're gone? Because I turned out okay.
Yeah.
I turned out okay. I was 18 years old in 9 months. I was a sergeant in the Marine Corps. I mean, I have a successful business. I mean, I have a security company for more than 20 years. We do properties from San Francisco to San Diego. I do bodyguard work. Shoot, I'll tell you some old school stuff. I usually don't talk, but I don't do bodyguard work anymore. But I actually escorted Courtney Van Buren, Pennock, Cooper, and Wilhelm down to Rosarito for a spring break. And Courtney lost his car keys. I had to drop the other guys off and go back to Rosarito to look for his keys. I told him, come on, Courtney. I know how much money you make. You can afford a damn key. Why am I going to have to drive back down to Rosarito?
That's how the rich stay rich, buddy. That's how the rich stay rich.
No question. But just remember, it's what you leave your children now. And I had a friend who recently lost his father, and I said, you know, let me tell you one thing that my experience. I will always remember everything we did together.
Sure.
And he will always be with me.
Sure. That's the memories,
So
man.
make sure what
That's what we're trying to
you
do.
do today is so important to help your kids in the future should you unfortunately not be around long term for their life. And you guys know, because I heard you play my take on March 1st, you replayed when I called you guys and told you I'll be 66 in June. My daughter is now 20 months old.
Oh my gosh, you're like Robert De Niro, man. Holy cow. Holy cow.
Rob's got me beat. My oldest is 41.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Kudos to you. I don't know how you do
Thanks
it.
for the call, Tim.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate the levity, certainly, but I don't know how you, Paulie, there's no way, man. I'm 47 and I get my ass kicked every single day. I mean, it's never ending. It's unyielding, the exhaustion, but it's so worth it, like you said. So, man, that was a little bit heavier show than I planned today.
Yeah,
Usually
bit.
me and Paulie are a little bit more loosey-goosey, but hey, listen, somehow
Come a long way, you and I, since
We
our,
have.
our 17-minute Bob Dylan
That's
songs.
exactly right. Playing it today a little bit more on the emotional side, and
You got
that's
your sports, you got mental health, you got F-bombs,
F-bombs.
you got
You got
79-year-old
stories.
dads. All right.
That's it for us. Oh, we still got like 3
No,
minutes.
that's not up.
I don't know if the little guy, the big guy, Ben, is okay. I don't know if he'll be back tomorrow. I have not gotten an update from him. He is making jokes with us on text, which is, was mildly infuriating, right?
Yeah, I don't want to hear from you.
Like, if you're out,
Today.
just be out.
Are you watching on YouTube right now, Ben?
Yeah, that's what I always say. Like, if you're gonna be out, then be out. Like when you're going on vacation at the end of this month.
Yep.
There's no need for you to like, hey, you guys need me to call in or take. No, you're off.
Right.
You took the day off.
Won't be listening and
Yeah, don't
chiming
listen.
in
I
via
never
text.
listen. I never listen. I didn't listen to 1 second when we went to Disneyland. We got in the car early to go up to Disneyland last week, and Hannah's like, "Do you want me to put the show on?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "You don't want to hear it?" I go, "No, I don't want to hear it. I have the day off. I'm out of the bed and wood sphere for a few hours here. Going to try to be present. Being a present father is very difficult. I've said that many times, Paulie. Like, to do what we do and to but watch the game. Luckily, my kids and my family are way into the Padres as well, so it makes it a little bit easier. But it's hard. Like, one out in the ninth, and Bo's like, "Dad, I have to poop." I'm like, I'm like, all right. I mean, you can pause it, you can rewind and things like that, but it's not the same. It's just not the same. So trying to find that balance can be difficult. Anything else we need to handle business-wise before we go?
No, I think we're good.
Just
man.
hope we don't get a
ready for
call down
4:40.
Call down to the principal's office.
Yeah, if we're not here in the morning,
you know why.
It was it's been a fun ride.
We won't prank you either. I would never.
Oh god.
Can you imagine? It's
Ben's here by himself.
The DA show. Yeah. All right. Let me ask you a question. So if we got in trouble for somebody else saying the F word on our station, do we get fired? Do you get fired? Does the whole show, because Ben would go, "Well, I wasn't there. I didn't do it." And it would be him and Italian Paul in here tomorrow, right?
I guess, yeah.
Would he stand in solidarity with us? No, he would keep this gig.
He'd be like, "Here comes basketball.
Basketball
4
Ben.
hours, baby."
Oh, and in playoffs too, he would. I think he would.
You think let's go to Adam's desk after the show and say, "Did Ben text you something like, oh, did you hear that, Adam? They let an F-bomb through." Like,
I wonder if he ratted us out.
Yeah.
I wonder
Trying
if
to get
he
us fired.
tweeted at the FCC. That's going to be interesting. I hope he makes it in tomorrow. But Padres on 440.
Me too, for the love of God.
Listen to it here. I had a fun show with you, Paulie. I thought you did a great job. Great job getting Danny Rojas on the program. F-bombs notwithstanding, he was phenomenal. Loved the football soccer talk today. Sparked a lot of debate. I want it to stay. Let's keep it above board. Everyone has interests in mind. Everyone wants it to work out the right way. I've already seen people like, I don't know why you guys wouldn't want. Listen, I want what's best for everyone involved. As close as we can get to that, that's what I want. If an MLS team moving to San Diego helps San Diego, I'm all for it.
Can't we all just get along?
Can't we all just work together? Right? That's what we should be doing. And I know it's becoming more difficult by the day to do that. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Paulie and I are going to hit the bricks here very, very shortly. And we'll be back tomorrow, hopefully to talk about a Padres win. I could use a nice winning streak from our San Diego Padres. Going to be good for everybody's mental health. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. So listen, Take care of your mentals. Do what you got to do. We're here for you. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m., hopefully with the big guy in tow. And he'll want to talk about all the stories that we already talked about today, because that is his favorite thing to do. For Paul Reindl, executive producer, for the very snotty and sneezy Ben Higgins, I'm Woodsy. We'll be back tomorrow. It's Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan.